Guys, welcome to Rep America, guys. I am your host, and I got a great show for you today. We're going to expose CNN. We got Trump coming out. You got him on your screen right now. And we got the other Arab countries in the Middle East that are changing directions with what they do with their oil. Okay, let's hit live there on Instagram as well. We should be live on X as well today. There we go. So yeah, we have CNN and just doing the most. They're still at it, and we're going to show you how they manipulate their viewers and how they take our wins and turn them into ways to bash Trump. And we're going to go at it right now. I got a few things on the menu, so we're also going to take a look at James Comey. If you're not aware of what's going down with James Comey, if you guys remember this 8647, he is now he just was indicted on 2 charges, guys. So we're going to look at that as well. Dude, what's up, guys? Javid Shah, hello. Good to have you guys. Welcome to the stream. So we got James Comey indicted on 2 charges. Crazy stuff. All right. And then we got, of course, Elon Musk is, if you're not aware, Elon Musk is suing OpenAI, ChatGPT, because they were supposed to be a nonprofit. All right. So we got that going on. On top of all that, we got again CNN doing what they're doing, and then we got here Mamdani. So where is Mamdani? Where do we have good old Mamdani? We're gonna pull up Mamdani for you. Mamdani is actually struggling right now because New York City, from what he just came out and said, does not have enough money. So how could that be? Surprise, surprise. New York City doesn't have enough money. Could it be because you're running everybody out by trying to charge more taxes on the rich, the people who actually pay all the taxes? And that's what's happening. And this is something that I've explained to you guys many times. If you actually pick up a book, read a book, look at data, look at information, look at trends, look at what we've done. We are a country that's 250 years old. It's not like we woke up yesterday. Of course, we're not an ancient civilization, but we are 250 years old, and we have shown what capitalism does in a short 250 years. And as a result of that, we have data to look at. We can see what worked, what didn't work. And that's exactly what we did. And if you look at the numbers, you will see in our free market capitalist society, when you go ahead and charge more taxes to the rich, which is what they want to do, you end up driving the rich away. You end up actually pulling in less tax revenue. This has happened throughout the history of our country, where we were charging taxes, where we decided to heavily increase taxes on the wealthy, or just in general. It ended up having the reverse effect. Everybody thinks you raise taxes, you got more money to work with, and you can have more welfare programs. You can pay for more, different activities and things that you're doing for your city or country or whatever the case may be, and it has the opposite effect. So I'm going to run through some of that with you guys. And we'll take a peek at some of these things. First, let's take a look at James Comey. You're looking on your screen right now. If you remember this is what James Comey thought was funny to post and to send out. And what does that say on your screen? It says 8647. Those are seashells. Those are seashells that James Comey, I believe at the time when he posted this, he said he had some kind of an epiphany or some kind of magic had happened, and these seashells arranged themselves on the shore in this formation, and it was some kind of supernatural thing, and he wanted the world to see that. Well, Congratulations, James Comey. We just had another attempt on our president's life, making President Trump the president with the most attempts on his life. And it's due to things like this, things that you did. And as a result of that, you got 2 charges now, buddy. And so let's take a look at this. These are the charges against James Comey. Here we go. Let's take a look.
Earlier today, a grand jury in the Eastern District of North Carolina returned a true bill indicting Mr. James Comey with committing 2 felonies. Count 1, he knowingly and willfully made a threat to kill and to inflict bodily harm upon the President of the United States in violation of 18 U.S.C. 871A. Count 2, he knowingly and willfully transmitted in interstate and foreign commerce a communication that contained a threat to kill President Trump in violation of 18 U.S.C. 875C. Earlier today.
So there you have. Those are the 2 charges, and both of those charges are in relation to what he posted here. These seashells saying 8647. And for those of you that are watching, you're like, what the hell does that mean? Well, 86, if you're not familiar, it means it means basically to get rid of or to blow out or to eliminate. And 47 is our president. He's the 47th president. And James Comey thought it was something magical and something that he had to share with the world. Now we all know what his intentions were, and as a result, he's just gotten indicted on 2 felonies for that. Okay, and it's not a joke. These people, these leaders, these Democratic leaders in our country are pushing these psychos to go out and do what you just saw happen on Saturday live in front of everybody in our country. Okay. So that's what it is. Someone here is saying 1986. No, it's not 1986. If you want to look it up, 86 is a reference to like eliminating or getting rid of or blowing out or what I'm not going to say the words, but you know what I'm talking about. And 47 is our president. All right. I'm going to go now to Mamdani. So this is another Democrat leader where I keep telling you guys need to expect more from your leaders. Here's a guy that is considering himself a socialist Democrat or a democratic socialist. Min is right. It's old slang. Put this on the screen here. So he's a democratic socialist, which is another term for communist. Okay, that's how Democrats and leftists now they manipulate words. They have their what we call the leftist vocabulary, and so we have basically a situation where we told you so. It's a no duh kind of a thing. Mamdani is now going to explain to you that the city has no money and he doesn't know how they're going to get money. Well, surprise, surprise, bro. We've been telling you this whole time, these games you're playing with the people, these things that you're saying to the people to get elected, these fantasies of I'm going to come into office and I'm going to give you stuff for free. Well, that's an easy sell, a great thing to say, a great way to get yourself elected. However, those things never play out. There are no checks and balances to providing people with free things. And now you're going to hear exactly him saying exactly that. Here we go.
New York City faces a budget crisis of a historic magnitude. We inherited a deficit larger than any since the Great Recession. Years of mismanagement and chronic underbudgeting.
Years of mismanagement. Why? Because it's a Democrat-run city, just like Los Angeles. They're pretty much the same thing. But what are you doing? You're making things worse, right? Instead of fixing the problem, you're exasperating it. You want to give free this, free that. He has plans for the new socialist grocery stores, which he claims will be built in 4 years. So which who knows if they're going to get built, but from what we've read so far, they're going to cost more than a Whole Foods grocery store. So imagine that. You want to build a grocery store that will end up costing, I think it's like twice or 5 times the price of a Whole Foods, and then you want to offer stuff for free, and then you guys can figure out the rest. But this stuff never plays out, and if you look at the history, it's a complete disaster. Now, you want to do that, but there's a cost to all this stuff. There's a cost to providing things for free. I mean, we're not even going to get into what you're doing with, having Islam all over the streets in front of our holding traffic and stopping our streets and putting it on display like you're trying to shove it in people's faces. You don't have any other religions out there purposely shutting down traffic to pray in the middle of the streets, but now you got Islam doing that. People are free to practice whatever they want. We live in a free country. God bless America. But we don't allow people to hold up traffic and go and shove it in people's faces. So we're not going to get into that. But these free things you want to give people, there's limits. We already have passed those limits, and definitely in Los Angeles and in New York, we're way past those limits. Now, when this guy got elected and came into his seat, he basically is providing more free stuff with what his plan is to get more tax money to pay for it. But again, as I said, I read and I explain what I read to you guys. You can Google it. You can ChatGPT it. The reality is, every time you raise taxes on people, especially at a high rate, not just a little bit, when you want to crank up taxes, like you've seen him propose and start doing, you drive them out. You make people leave, and you end up taking in less taxes. And even if they don't leave, people that pay the most taxes in our country and in your city, in this case, New York City, the people that pay the most and have the ability to pay the most taxes also have the ability to switch around the activities they do, their income generating activities, so that those income generating activities would be taxed less. Okay. And also think about this, the people that are able to leave when you force them out, or when you force them to make that decision to leave a place they don't want to leave, the people that have the most ability to leave, the people that can leave, are the people with money. If you're struggling already to make ends meet and you're in New York City, it's still not that easy for you to get up and leave somewhere else. You got to go find a job somewhere else, and you got to, get your housing and all this other stuff you got to do. If you're a multimillionaire, you can get up and go wherever you want to go at any time. You know what I'm saying? So these people don't understand the basics of taxation, and it drives me nuts. And I know that a lot of us say, okay, well, let them learn their lesson. Well, this is them learning their lesson.
Alongside a structural imbalance between what New York City sends to the state and what we receive in return, have taken a toll. We cannot close this deficit with savings alone. We need new revenue, and we need a structural reset in our relationship with the state. That is the only way to meet our legal obligation to pass a balanced budget, and to do so without imposing a financial burden onto the backs of working people. I'm glad to partner with Speaker Menon as we call upon Albany and deliver a balanced budget. Together, we are extending the executive budget deadline from this coming Friday until May 12th, because a crisis of this scale cannot be solved without state action. I want to be clear, we are not simply asking others to act. New York City is doing our part. We are committed to governing with the fiscal responsibility this moment demands. Speaker Menon and I have already identified meaningful savings, and we will continue that work carefully, deliberately, and without cutting the services that New Yorkers rely on. But we cannot do it alone. That is why we are standing together this morning to underscore what is at stake and to call on Albany to deliver additional revenue.
So he's going after the state, and he needs a bailout, and he's going to ask for a reduction in the tax breaks for the wealthiest New Yorkers. So on top of charging them more tax in other ways, he now wants to reduce tax breaks that they've gotten in the past that attracted them to New York or attracted them to continue to stay in New York. And so that's what we have right now. That's what's going down. There's no way to get out of this. The reason and the dead end for him is increasing taxes. And he can't go back on what he promised now because you guys elected him on that promise. So you're going to get what you asked for. So there's no way for him to close that gap. He's going to ask for more money from the state, and the state's going to tell you to go screw yourself. The state needs to figure out their budget too, bro. What are you talking about? So now you drive out people that give you tax. You make the other ones that don't leave, you make them change their income activities so they're not taxed as much. So your tax revenue goes from here to here. Meanwhile, you're trying to promise more free stuff. Where are you going to get that money? You're not going to get it. There's nowhere to find it. You're screwed, bro. It's not going to work. So he has a big problem on his hands, and he's not going to get out of it in any which way that he plans to. Nothing's going to work. So we're not even 6 months into it. And so this is already, it's already time for us to get our popcorn out and just watch this thing because, we all said, hey, I guess they're going to get what they asked for it. So they're going to get what they asked for. And we're just going to have to watch them, burn the city down and financially and destroy their city, drive taxes out, and not actually help. Here's what's going to have to happen. Okay, guys, the reality of the situation is they've already done some of this. They will have to tax everybody more. Bottom line, there's no way around it. Mark my words. Let's see how what I'm saying right now ages. They're going to have to tax everybody, not just who they say the wealthiest people in the country. And again, guys, for those of you that are just watching, if you don't understand our taxes, the bottom 50% we have the top 50% of earners, we have the bottom 50%. The bottom 50% pay for maybe 5% of all taxes. The top 50% pay for majority, if not almost all of taxes, okay? Almost all your taxes are paid by the top 50. The top 25, so you have the bottom 50, you have the top 50. Of this top 50, let's just say that the top 20% of all earners are paying for 75 to 80% of all your taxes. All your taxes are paid by 20% of the people. And then if you take off the 1%, the top 1% pay for I want to say the number is 40% of all taxes. So you're trying to tax these people even more. They're already paying for everything. You want to tax them even more. But now, as a result of all your shenanigans and all of your ways the leftists sell you on getting them elected, is you're going to have to tax everybody. The top and the bottom are now going to get taxed more in all kinds of different creative ways. And it won't be recognizable right away. It's going to be snuck in there. Okay. Just mark my words. We'll come back to this and I'll play this again so we can see exactly how that went down. And we'll see what happened with that. So that's what he's doing. He's there with Speaker Menon, and that's what it is. It's a pass-through entity tax credit. They're trying to cut into that, and they're going to lose even more people. So a lot of people are moving to Florida, Texas, And we all called it. It's a I told you so situation. We knew it was going to happen. Okay, now another thing. So we have Elon Musk. Elon Musk is now suing OpenAI for $150 billion. Okay, he's suing OpenAI for $150 billion, and here's why. It's because when they created it, it was supposed to be a non-profit, and it quickly turned into not so much of a non-profit. A lot of us, including myself, are paying OpenAI. So that's the situation there, and it's a very the case started yesterday on Monday. He went into court today, and I believe this is one of the. Let me play this video.
Structured as.
So you've seen other companies in their early days that start small and get really successful. Hope I know we're asking this on camera, but how do you think OpenAI is going as a 6-month-old company?
I think it's going pretty well. I think we've got a really talented group at OpenAI, and
Seems like it.
Yeah, really talented team, and they're working hard. OpenAI is structured as say a 501c3 nonprofit, but many nonprofits do not have a sense of urgency. It's fine; they don't have to have a sense of urgency, but OpenAI does. Because I think people really believe in the mission. I think it's important, and it's about minimizing the risk of existential harm in the future. And so I think it's going well. I'm pretty impressed with what people are doing and the talent level. And obviously, we're always looking for great people to join who believe in the mission.
Close to 40 people now. It's fun.
So that's him explaining that it is a nonprofit, and this what you're seeing on your screen, this is him actually walking into the courtroom today. So he is literally going there, and he is going to be suing. He's literally suing OpenAI. But we'll see how that goes. That's going to be an interesting one. I don't know exactly what's going to happen with that. I got to dig a little deeper, but he is going after them, and it's not a joke. And he also said this. I wanted you to see this. He says here, the proceeds of any legal victory in the OpenAI case will be donated to charity. I will in no way enrich myself. Okay, so that's Elon Musk. And then finally, I want to get to this right here. Well, there's a couple things here. Let me get this on your screen here. There you go. So Elon Musk came out and said, Iran just informed us that they are in a state of collapse. They want us to open the Strait of Hormuz, as soon as possible as they try to figure out their leadership situation, which I believe they will be able to do. Thank you for your attention. So with Iran, the Iranian leadership, as we all know, is decimated. What's left of the Iranian leadership of the Ayatollahs is one guy, really. There's a couple left, but one prominent person who has been injured in this war is lips and face and I think missing a leg. And he is the son of Ayatollah Khamenei, is Mujtaba Khamenei. And that guy was in a coma for a long time, from what we understand. And when he woke up, he found out that everything's gone, including his power, which he is apparently the new supreme leader. But what has happened with Iran, guys, is the supreme leadership, the Ayatollahs, are battling it out with the IRGC, and the IRGC is battling it out with some of the other, I would say, factions. There are other clerics that are not the Ayatollahs. Okay, they are some of the, let's just call them statesmen, for lack of better words, better terms. And so you have them battling each other for power. And all of this back and forth that we have been seeing with President Trump has been basically, it's basically been President Trump playing the Islamic regime. President Trump has been out there saying all kinds of different things. He goes out there and says, we just made an agreement with this group. I just made an agreement with them. They just agreed to open the strait. Oh, we're having a meeting with them tomorrow. Oh, we just had a great meeting. It looks like the new leadership is great. All of these different things that have been making a lot of people, their emotions go up and down and all over the place. I have Iranians hitting me up and asking me, hey, Medi, what the hell? I thought we're going to get rid of this Islamic regime, the leadership. Now Trump is talking about making deals with them. You can't make deals with terrorists, which I do believe. And so then you have Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi. He wants to go back and reclaim the country with the Iranian people and create a new democracy, more of a monarchy that is a republic. So he wants to make some type of a democratic rule in the country, but he can't do that if these other guys are still there. So my point of all this is Trump has been playing them. He has been making them upset at each other because they have been fighting for power. So if you can imagine the country being run by an Ayatollah for 47 years, all of a sudden we come in, decimate them, and now the son who is supposed to be the next Ayatollah, the next supreme leader, he's in a coma, he wakes up, everyone else has been calling the shots since he's been in a coma, since he's been injured. Now, everyone else that's been calling the shots of those other people, if you can imagine, they're the fighting for power. IRGC says, hey, we know what we should be doing. And the other guys say, holy cow, no, we know what we should be doing. So now these people are fighting for who should be making the decisions. They end up just spitballing and trying to throw things at the wall to see what sticks. As you saw, guys, they were firing missiles at their own friends in the Arab countries, and those other Arab countries who were their partners in crime, they're wondering, like Qatar, they're wondering, what the hell are you doing? Why are you firing missiles at us? Guys, this is what's happened. This is what Trump has done. This is the game that's being played. That's why you're seeing this on your screen right now. That's why they're all messed up right now, and they're eating each other alive. The leadership in Iran is screwed. They're eating each other alive, and they are they're collapsing as we speak. It says here on your screen, Iran has informed us they are in a state of collapse. And we knew this was happening slowly, but there's going to be a point where it breaks and it just boom, it's going to just completely be gone. And it'll happen probably within a week after that breaking point. But that's what's happened. We have leadership fighting each other. Ayatollahs are no longer in power. IRGC thinks they're in power. These other statesmen believe they're in power. You have the Iranian people, apparently, from what we know, they've created what they call Garda Javidan, the immortal guard. They're preparing for the right time to go out and take the country back. All of this is happening, guys. And in the meantime, this is key, for the first time, we've heard Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi came out, and he said specifically that when the time comes for me to make the call for us to take our country back in that decisive moment, I will do that from within the country, not outside the country, not as in the diaspora. He wants to be in the country for that. So that was a major announcement, and that's what we're kind of looking. We're never going to know when he's going to go there or how he's going to go, because they'll try to take him out, of course. So he's going to find a way to get in there and call for the people to come out and for him, and he's going to lead the charge to take the country back. Okay, so now to get to that point, we still need a little bit more, and the story that I have about CNN and their shenanigans is net right. I'm going to talk about that right after this, because it's part of this. Trump is talking about the Strait of Hormuz here, So the leadership is screwed. Israel is still working on destroying all of the Islamic regime from the inside. You got Mossad in there. You guys know we have CIA in there. We are taking out the Islamic regime. We're preparing for, basically, we want the Islamic regime gone. Now, even Trump has said, I'm not here for regime change. But one thing that we all have to know to be true, it's common sense if you think about it. If you're Trump and you want to stop the threat of the Islamic regime, not only for the American people and all the soldiers and everybody around the whole world, our military bases. Again, remember, Islamic regime has been killing Americans. If you want to stop the threat of the Islamic regime, you cannot allow the regime to remain in place when you're done with your war efforts. You guys understand that? You guys agree with that? You cannot do that. And we know you can't do that. I have said this many times. It would be political. It would be political suicide. It would be a destruction of the legacy that Trump would like to leave behind if he allowed the Islamic regime to stay in place. Okay? This is very, very much common sense. It's basic stuff, guys. So you guys, we have to understand that piece of it. And when you understand that piece of it, you know that we have to, if we're not going to do the regime change ourselves, like Trump said, well, then we have to, first of all, eliminate the threat, but then next we have to lay the groundwork for the people of Iran to take the country back. And to do that, we need the help of Israel as well. I mean, we don't need it, but we're going to use it. And Israel also has the same goal. And that's a wonderful thing. So we are working together to create the environment for the people of Iran to take their country back in their way, okay? And which is the best way to make that happen. To do that, it's going to take a little time. And we took the Strait of Hormuz. We're controlling the profit centers. We're controlling the income activities of the Islamic regime. We're choking out their income stream. We're making them say mercy. We're making them basically beg for mercy at this point. And they're gonna continue eating themselves alive. So the leadership will continue fighting amongst each other, because at some point, as of now, they don't have money to pay for all their activities, their soldiers, and everyone else they've been hiring. Again, guys, if you don't know, new viewers may not know, they have been paying other countries around them to come in and help them because they have a very weak military. Contrary to what everyone believes, they have a very weak military. The numbers that people have, I mean, you can even chat GPT this, the support, the percentage of the people in the country that support this Islamic regime is probably 5% of the country. Okay. So they don't have support. They have to hire other countries to come in with their militaries and hire all these goons to come in and do this stuff. And now they don't have money for that either. So they're going nuts. Okay. They're bankrupt. Okay. Not just financially, but morally bankrupt. And they have no support. Okay. So now we choked them out. We got we took out the income center, which is the ships that go into the Strait of Hormuz. And now we have created something else for ourselves outside of that. And we're going to get to that. That takes us to our next piece here. But this is going to take a little more time to get us to the point where the environment's ready to completely get rid of the Islamic regime. That's happening. We're in the process of it. It's, it doesn't happen overnight, but you have to understand there's a method to the madness. Okay. There's a process behind all this stuff, and it's going to happen. Okay. So, I know we all want it to happen sooner than later, but some of the comments I get on my reels and my kind of posts that I put up, people are like, well, when is this going to happen? When is this thing going to happen? Come on. What are they waiting for? It's like, dude, first of all, for 47 years, we let the regime destroy Iran. For 47 years, we can give Trump a little more time, give Israel a little more time, give the people of Iran and the Shah, the Crown Prince Reza Pahlavi, a little more time to get dialed in to where when they need to take the country back, it's not a complete failure, okay? Because this is a sensitive, very, sensitive thing. It's got to be done right. So let's give them a little more time. We're only months into this, okay, guys? It's not like some other wars where it's like 10 years, 15 years long war. We're months into this. Have a little patience. I don't want Persians and Iranians to die, innocent Iranians to go to jail and die and all that. I don't want that to happen. None of us want that. But guys, let's keep things in perspective and make sure we have a little patience. Let the process go through. There's a method to the madness. There's a way to do this right so that it's not a complete political disaster as well. Okay? So there's that piece of it. Now, the other piece of this is the next part of the live stream that I want to go to now is this. The UAE, the United Arab Emirates, have announced their withdrawal from OPEC, okay? And they withdrew from OPEC, and they're making some new decisions for themselves, okay? What does that mean? What exactly does that mean? And why am I bringing this up? Okay. This is important because there's a lot of things being said about this, but this is very important. What Trump has done with the Strait of Hormuz and with locking up the Islamic regime and basically locking up their income and choking them out, and all of the things that went down with the Strait of Hormuz and all the mines and all the issues with the traffic of the ships going in and out, all of this stuff, okay? All of this stuff that's happened has forced ships and countries, other countries, to end up going to other places to get their oil. The most prominent of those other places is America, okay? And in some cases, America is even closer than their ships going all the way to the Middle East for oil, okay? So Trump, with these efforts in these last couple of months, he has brought awareness to the beautiful and wonderful free market capitalist ideology, which is the Western way of doing politics, the Western way of life, capitalism, okay, the best and most proven way to operate. He has brought more awareness to it. And hey, guys, you have freedom to make decisions. And guess what? One of those decisions could be to come to America to get your oil. And as a result of all of these different things happening, UAE, as you can see on your screen right now, they have announced that they will withdraw from the organization of the OPEC, okay, Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, next month. What are they going to do? They're going to be increasing, okay, they're going to be increasing production, and they will be decreasing prices. All right. And that second part is my commentary on it. That's my opinion. They're going to be producing more. There's going to be more. Now you have more countries offering oil, and you have countries going to more places to get oil, so that it's not just locked into the UAE and the Arab countries in the Middle East. Now the oil, now we're drill baby drill. Remember what Trump said when we're electing him? He said, if you elect me, it will be drill baby drill. So now, as a result of drill baby drill, we are an oil producing country. There are other oil producing countries, and people are not going to be locked into what they were doing before. Now it's a free, open market. I mean, it always was, but now there's more awareness to it and more availability. And these countries are going to now, as you see on your screen, increase production. That means prices will go down. Okay? Now, that's another thing that I want to hold myself to, and we're going to come back and see how well this ages. And I'm going to love that. Prices will go down as a result of that. That's the beauty of what's happening. And when I say trust the process, there's a method to the madness, this is what I'm talking about. Now, however, you do have, of course, lamestream media saying the opposite, finding every chance they can to make the situation look bad. And here's that right here. Okay, so we're going to jump into this in a second. This is CNN, okay? And listen to what they just said. This was hours ago. They posted this video. It's just happened. So we're going to play this and check this out. So here we go.
The United Arab Emirates says that it is withdrawing from OPEC and OPEC+. OPEC is a decades-old cartel of the world's largest oil-producing exporters. The energy minister says that it will make it easier for the UAE to meet changing demand. But it is a major blow to OPEC at a time when the Iran war has triggered a global energy crisis and as the price of oil hits 3-week highs. CNN's Eleni Diokos joins me now from Dubai. Eleni, and so with the UAE doing this and making this announcement today, I believe they are the third or fourth largest producer among OPEC members. Talk about the significance here and the impact that it's already having within the region.
Yeah, it's the third largest producer within OPEC, and it's really significant. I mean, frankly, it's a bombshell announcement today, Biana. You know, they joined in 1967.
What's the bombshell, bro? Jump into it. Let's go. Come on, let's go.
One of the oldest members withdrawing from this organization. This is importantly an organization that can exert influence on oil prices. It has the ability to control.
Okay, but they're saying they're trying to make this into a big deal without actually saying anything yet. But I'm going to show you in just a second.
Supply. So when oil prices go high, then we start to see quotas from these oil producing nations, and that starts to temper off oil prices. But when oil prices are low, that is also when they step in specifically to protect oil producers, that if oil prices are below what it costs to produce a barrel of oil, they can also play around with that. That's why they're viewed as a cartel. The UAE energy minister says this is not a political decision, but many people are focusing on the timing, given that we are currently in the largest energy crisis in the history of markets. Take a listen to what he said.
This is not a political decision. This is a pure policy position, and repositioning us to be in the front of the world, taking the right decision at the speed that we aspire for. To us, it's the consumers are critical. To us, we need to attain to these countries who entrusted us to build the refineries based on our crude. And our crude today, Marban, is one of the cleanest, if not the cleanest crude on earth.
So really important to note here that in the statement that was released today by media, they say
I got someone in the chat talking about exactly what I'm about to talk to you guys right now. So we'll get to that in a second. Someone is saying here, if Trump would, I'll put it on the screen. If Trump wouldn't have went to war for Israel, which he did not, Israel first apparently, then this fuel nonsense wouldn't be happening. And they're talking about fuel nonsense. What fuel nonsense? We're going to talk about that in a second.
Say that when they joined the alliance, they have made significant contributions as well as even greater sacrifices, they say, for the benefit of all. And that's because they've been adhering to a quota system. As of April 2025, UAE was allowed to sell 3.5 million barrels of oil per day, when the capacity is around 5 million barrels of oil per day. And given that we've seen not only attacks by Iran on critical energy infrastructure targeted here on the UAE as well as other Gulf states, but also the closure of the Strait of Hormuz has completely changed the way the UAE views its position in the global energy markets. And they're saying they're going to start focusing on national interests and continue their commitment to stabilizing oil prices. But Biana, any way you look at this, many people are questioning the fate of OPEC right now, whether this is a precursor to.
So I want to just mention that CNN came out and made a whole video with these 2 or 3 anchors that you're going to see. We already saw 2 of them. They basically came out and said this is going to be a problem for the oil market. And they have not said anything about how. They have not explained how, right? There's what's the effect? The effect is what I told you, okay, is this being part of this OPEC and being part of these things where there's quotas and all this kind of stuff is not very much a free market type of an ideology. When you get out of this shit, then you're exposed to the free market. Now you can do whatever you want. And they have already said they're going to be, as a result of getting out of this, they're going to be increasing oil production. And as I said, they're going to be lowering prices. And we're going to see that. But now let's jump right here to this piece of
more countries leaving OPEC, and importantly, what happens to oil prices.
Because what's happening is, as I said, they're finding out that oil is now available in more places, not just the Middle East. And now they're going to have to, if they want to keep exporting oil, because what else do they export? Not very much. Oil is their massive, if not their only major export. There's not very many others after that. They're going to have to do some things to continue exporting oil. What are those things? Well, we know if you study economy and you study the free market capitalism, you got to produce more at a lower price. You got to lower your prices or whatever. You make things easier for people. Okay? And that's exactly what's going to happen. These are exciting times. But check out what they say here. This is the interesting part.
From here.
And the future relationship, once again, at question between the Saudis and the Emiratis as well. Eleni Giokos, thank you so much.
Gas prices are surging to the highest level in nearly.
Right here. Look at what he says here. What he says here is what people come into my chats and on the live chat, and this is what they say to us almost every day. Remember I said this is what this person said? Listen to what he's about to tell you right now and see if it sounds familiar.
Are surging to the highest
as well. Eleni Giokos, thank you so much.
Gas prices are surging to the highest level in nearly 4 years because, of course, of deadlocked Iran war and the talks that just aren't going anywhere and are rattling the global economy. Now, the national average is now $4.18 a gallon. That's up nearly 7 cents from just yesterday, and the highest price since the war began. And just to get kind of a better sense or a window into what we're watching right now, I think it's important to look back over time. I'm going to draw a little bit on the magic wall and try not to make a fool of myself as Richard is watching me here. We said 418 is where things stand today. And I think when you look at the run-up just since the start of the war, what's so notable is the speed and scale of the surge of the prices, but also that prices were below $3 a gallon right before this was all happening. At the end of last year, at the start of January, everything the Trump administration wanted on this front, Richard, was happening. Now, if you look back over to the Ukraine conflict and kind of the aftermath of that in the near term, and you saw gas prices topping $5, came back down pretty steadily since. So Richard, we haven't hit the $5 mark yet. This seems dramatically worse from a global market perspective in terms of the disruption we're living through. Where do you see this going?
So,
all right. So look, I wish I'd known you had your toys out because I've got one that I could.
So what I want to say here first is the whole title of their video is UAE exits OPEC, gas prices spike to highest in 4 years. what you have them telling you is gas prices are the highest they've been since in the last 4 years, and it's the highest since the war started. And what do you guys remember about all the people that jump into my comments and they say, oh, gas prices are the highest they've ever been. Look what Trump is doing this. He got Israel, got him to jump into this war, and now we have to deal with it as Americans. This is an America first. Gas prices are high and all this kind of stuff, right? Oh, really? And now they want to gaslight you by telling you it's the speed at which it's gone up. Oh, really? What about the speed at which it went up here? Look at your screen right now. This, ladies and gentlemen, in the red on the left, that's Trump's first term. The blue, baby blue in the center all the way across is Biden. And this red on the right is Trump's second term. Okay? So what do you notice? If you look at this, you'll notice that when Trump left office, Biden jumps in, and what happened to gas prices? Gas prices, these are average gas prices across our country. So the next time you have lefties coming in and crying about gas prices and pointing fingers at you and Trump and everyone else about gas prices, remember what I'm explaining to you right now. Biden gets in the office, gas prices go up. We're not talking about this. The guy tried to gaslight you and say, oh, it was the Ukraine war and it kind of was a blip. And no, dude, no, it wasn't. It started at $2.50 a gallon when Trump came in, and it gradually went up to $3.50, and then it shot up, which is what he called the blip. It shot, and we're going to remember this blip because they get a blip for their Ukraine war effort, but we don't get a blip, right? So watch this. It goes from $2.50 under Trump to $3.50. Okay, that's 1 year. Within a year, it gradually went up under Biden. Then it shoots up all the way to $5 a gallon under Biden. We're still $1. We're still at a whole dollar less than that right now. Look at where we're at right now. Nobody, exactly, Kev Dog, nobody cried under Biden. But look at where we're at right now. Right now, we're at $4 average a gallon, which is $1 less than it was, a whole dollar less than it was under Biden in 2022. Okay? That's their blip. That's where he gaslighted. He said, oh, yeah, there was a blip. It went up. So it went up under Biden. Yes, right after it came back down. That's how that works. And then it went back up again to $3.75, back down, up, down, up, down. Okay, now here is the point. Okay. Right now, under this red is Trump, okay, on your screen. Under Trump, it went up like, I don't know, 20 cents, and then it gradually went down until we started this war with the Islamic regime. Okay, so it was on its way down pre-war with Trump. Not like Joe Biden, where it went way up before the war. Before the blip, it was going up before the blip. Under Trump, it was going down before the blip. Okay? There's lots of reasons for that. But I'm not going to get into the weeds, but it was going down under Trump. Now, another thing to understand is it went down, and yes, it's shot up, and it's a steep spike up because of the war that's happening right now. This is a couple months it went up. Look at this screen now. See if I can make this bigger on your screen there. Look at this screen now. This is year to date. This is this year, okay? And you could see gas prices this year. This is, oil, not gas prices, guys. This is oil price. This is the price of oil. Okay, this is different than the previous screen. And I'm showing you this so that when people on the left come out screaming and hooting and hollering and all that stuff about gas prices, this is another illustration of they need to chill out. Okay. First of all, again, it was way higher under Biden. We're not even close to that. We're not even close to that. You saw it on your screen. You can pull it up any which way you want to pull it up. You'll see exactly what I said. The other part is this. We had oil prices go up, and then under the worst part of the closure of the Strait of Hormuz. We're talking full on, all of our battleships and aircraft carriers, everything there, everything's locked down. No ship was allowed to go in and out, nothing. Under the worst condition, it went up and then it went right back down. And now we are on the part of the spectrum that we are opening the Strait of Hormuz, and we have allowed all the ships except for the Iranian related partnering ships that want oil from Iran. We allowed all of those to go except for the Iranian ones. And now we have a situation where it's going to go back down. So we have the price of oil. Let's go back here. Here is price of oil across that whole spectrum, including Biden here on your left, all the way across. And now we have gone up because of the war and it's going back down. And now we're having a blip, but we're going to be going back down. And now when you have these other countries like the UAE coming out of OPEC, and you have them going to be free, in my opinion, of OPEC and regulations or quotas that they were stuck to. Now they're going to be in the free market and they'll be lowering prices. We have been drilling, and prices will be going back down. So that, my friends, is what's happening. And that is why CNN is full on gaslighting everyone in their echo chamber. And that is why we continue to have these people that choose not to educate themselves with the actual reality of the situation coming in and saying, oh, look, because of this, you did this, and you look what he caused. They were nowhere to be found under Biden. They don't know what they're talking about now. We're still a whole dollar less than under Biden. And we did that. That was in the height of our war. Not even some other war in Ukraine that was not our war, and that whole situation where it became $5 a gallon under Biden. It's average of $4 a gallon under Biden under our own war in the middle of the closing down the Strait of Hormuz, where all of the oil goes through the whole planet. We still were $1 less than Joe Biden's time. Okay, guys? So next time they open their mouth, you can explain that to them and show them exactly what we're talking about. Let's hear what this analyst has to say, and we'll go from there.
Could have used instead I'm just going to go the old-fashioned way. You can't really see this very clearly, but essentially the oil price has risen quite sharply, right? So we have a very sharp rise in the oil price, as you can see. Now, the important point to realize is this bit. Once the oil price got up there over $100 a barrel, I'm just going to shade it in so you can see, it doesn't matter how long it continues. This bit is baking in slow growth, slowing economy, higher inflation. And as this continues on and on and on, you know, the president can say this will be over in a few weeks. Anybody can say there'll be talks in Islamabad. But as long as this big wodge continues forward. That's the bit that's doing the damage. Anything over up towards $100 a barrel. So you ask how long this goes on. It goes on until there's a reason for the price to come down. And during the markets, does it once or twice. But longer term, Phil, it's not going to do it. And that's why you're seeing what you're seeing on yours.
Yeah, and it seems like markets, we've talked about this before, are finally looking around saying, oh, wait, there's no like near-term solution here.
So more gaslighting, even on their own screen. They're gaslighting you while they have it up on their own screen. Look at what happened under Biden. It went up just like you saw there. And the guy just explained to you when it goes up, it doesn't come back down, right? Well, look what it did under another president that completely destroyed our country, that does not know how to handle the economy or anything. It went back down, okay? And that's what's already happened. We've had our ups and downs, and then we're going to be on the trend to go back down. So it's very exciting stuff happening right now. I want to continue to see what else they have to say. And guys, I have lots of people ask me, why do you watch CNN? Why do you do this stuff? You know, I have to, and I love to watch it. It makes me more informed. I understand more when I talk to different types of people. I know what they're talking about, what they've been fed, and I want you to be the same way. Okay, here we go.
All, and the longer this goes on.
But the cake is baking all along. That's the crucial part about it. Every moment that oil is at these elevated levels.
The guy literally has no proper explanation for what he's talking about. He's telling you the cake is baking, and what exactly does that explain to us? That because a cake bakes, that means the prices won't go back down?
The economies are slowing, inflation's getting worse, and it is a continuing deteriorating situation.
Yeah, in dislocations that'll take months to fix, only grow more significant. Okay, I want to ask you, because you and I could talk about the next question probably for the next 4 or 5 hours. The UAE announces withdrawing from OPEC, the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries. I was stunned. You probably knew this was coming and have all sorts of reasons as to why it happened, but this is a significant thing from a global market perspective.
The reason is because the UAE, forgive the vernacular, the UAE has been pissed off with the allocation, its quota that it gets from OPEC. It wants 3.8 million barrels, it's had 3.2, they were given 3.5. And they believe the UAE, that's Abu Dhabi, it's Dubai, it's Sharjah, all of those, the 7 Emirates.
I'm going to answer a question in the chat too right now. Someone says here, the difference is that it's the same person, so we'll go ahead and answer this. We're going to entertain this a little bit. It says here, this is Paulman or however you say this name. It says, the difference in this case is that it didn't have to go up, and you understand the propaganda you chose to. That's incredibly clear. Well, let me explain something to you. All of the other presidents prior to Trump for 47 years chose to kick the can down the road, and we've been paying the price because of it. Literally, the reason why you have all these checkpoints and crazy lines and TSA and have to take your shoes off and do all this crap at an airport is because these presidents kicked the can of the Islamic regime down the road every time they came into office. Instead of doing the right thing and taking out the #1 state sponsor of terror, creator of all of the other terrorist groups around the globe, who have already taken over governments of other countries. In one case, Lebanon was taken over by Hezbollah, who was created by the Islamic regime years ago. These presidents prior to Trump kicked the can down the road, and where you say we didn't have to deal, in this case, we didn't have to deal with the slight increase in gas prices, which again is nowhere near the prices under Biden. We chose not to kick the can down the road. When those presidents kicked the can down the road, just like you said, we chose this, we didn't have to do this. We didn't have to have all that terror around the globe. We didn't have to have 9/11 happen. We decided to do that. That was something that was a result of us kicking the can down the road. That's the problem. So, yes, we chose not to deal with these types of issues when going in going after the state sponsor of terror, the Islamic regime of Iran, which we should have done years ago. And instead, we ended up getting terrorism as a result of that. So yes, we chose not to have a blip in gas prices, but in return, we got terrorism. I think I'd rather have a blip in gas prices and do all the stuff we're doing and have one of the greatest allies we'll ever have in the Middle East called the country of Iran and have no more terror.
I believe they've spent a fortune on their oil infrastructure. They should be allowed to recoup it. Their oil is cheap to produce, and therefore they need to crank it out. Now, why is this? It's a both. There's a paradox here, because the more they want to get for themselves, the more they produce. Therefore, the price will come down. This is about mine is bigger than yours. This is about saying I'm not getting my fair share. And they believe if they take this measure, eventually Saudi will cave or something like that will happen.
We have literally changed the course of the planet, the course of the world. We have changed the issue. We were going to give up the fact that our US dollar was going to be the standard for the whole world. We literally changed the direction of all of this energy that was going on, all of the oil that was being sold, Venezuela, Middle East. We had changed the course of all the state sponsors of terror. You had the Islamic regime, you had Russia and China all dialed in, positioned to do the most damage to our country and to the world. And now we have changed all of that into to benefit the United States of America and to benefit Western civilization, to benefit freedom, to benefit people having the right to choose how they want to live their lives, not to live in communism, not to live under Sharia Islam in Iran. My parents came from there. I know a lot about that. We have done an incredible job within not even 2 years with President Trump in our 47th presidency. It's just been an incredible feat that he was able to do.
Here inside, you can see there are
in no time. Right now, we have the. I also wanted to put this on your screen. We have the countdown to the governor's debate. This is going to happen here.
Some information. The students we've
in 22 minutes, we're about to have the governor's debate in California. That is going to be very interesting. You have
spoken with are really thrilled.
You have governors in California. You have Gavin Newsom that's destroyed our country. We're about to have a governor's debate, which is what I'm really looking forward to, guys. But what we have, I've looked at some of the previous debates. You have two Republican candidates running for California governor. One of them is Steve Hilton and the other one is Bianco. And Steve Hilton is leading. You have the rest of the Democrats, and it is the craziest thing you'll ever see in your life. You have a bunch of Democrats running who all of them, and I'm going to put on a prior debate in a little bit so you can see. You have all of them saying that if they were to grade Gavin Newsom on what type of a job he's done, they give him a B. And the guy has literally destroyed the state of California. And what a disaster. Let's hear what they're saying.
This is going to be your first time voting for the governor of California.
Yes, I'm very excited. I'm hoping that the governors will talk about issues that are related to our generation, specifically because they are on a college campus today. And I'm hoping that they will directly address people of color's needs and struggles right now, especially with immigration, as well as the attack on DEI and civil rights through the current administration.
And what year are you?
I'm a junior at
And so now, just in her question, you can see the struggle we have here in my state of California. She is telling us that she hopes the candidates will discuss what's important to what she believes is important to her generation, the attack on DEI, and things related to race. And guys, the struggle is real. It's unbelievable. In a state like California that has been destroyed because of DEI, we had DEI mayor running the city of Los Angeles, as you guys saw, did a horrible nightmare of a job with the California fires and everything else that's going on. Literally fought Trump every step of the way with ICE. And these people have not done anything to improve the lives of people in California. And yet you have people coming out here saying that they want to hear about ways that we're going to improve the situation with DEI and all that kind of stuff. It's incredibly, the word is frustrating as a Californian to listen to this. Absolute disaster. What a nightmare. Listen to this
McKenna
again.
College, and I'm people of color are on a governors. We'll talk about issues that are really
Listen to this.
Yummy. And this is going to be your first time voting for the governor of California.
Yes, I'm very excited. I'm hoping that the governors will talk about issues that are related to our generation, specifically because they are on a college campus today. And I'm hoping that they will directly address people of color's needs and
Address people of color's needs. Guys, I'm looking at the chat. Can you guys help me out? Help me understand what kinds of needs are people of colors needing right now? What is it that they don't have that? I mean, am I a person of color? I'm of Iranian descent. What is it that everyone else can do that people of color can't do? Can anyone help us understand here? I'll put some of your responses here on the screen. Ashkan says more jails. That actually brings me to something else that I wanted to show you. Speaking of people of color, let's actually pull this up. Oh, jeez. Here we go. You guys ready for this? Some of the things that I've saved. Here we go. Let's put this on right here.
All police shootings of civilians tomorrow, and it would have virtually no...
Listen, ready? 1, 2, 3.
You could get rid of all police shootings of civilians tomorrow, and it would have virtually no effect on the Black death by homicide rate. Blacks between the ages of 10 and 25 die of gun homicide at 25 times the rate of whites in that age category. And they're not being killed by the cops. They're being killed by other blacks. And nobody wants to talk about it. We're supposed to believe that we're all racist. It's the media that's racist. They don't give a damn about black lives. They don't give a damn about the dozens of blacks who are killed by homicide every single day. That's more than all white and Hispanic homicide victims combined, even though, as we said, blacks are 13% of the population. Virtually none of those black homicide victims gets covered. We are not saying their names because they're killed by other blacks, and we don't want to talk about that. So the Ferguson effect says when you demonize the cops back off. And guess what happens? When the cops stop making stops, when they stop looking at hot spots where shootings have happened, and they back off, criminals get emboldened and more black lives are taken. That's what happened after the Ferguson riots, after the George Floyd race riots in 2020. We had an even greater meltdown. We had every single American elite institution declaring it was racist to the core. And the cops were, of course, as usual, one of the main targets of this. 2020 saw the largest one-year increase in homicide in this nation's history, 29%, and thousands more black lives were taken. That's what happens when you demonize the cops. You could get rid of all police shootings of civilians tomorrow, and it would have virtually no effect on the Black death by homicide rate.
You get what she's saying? You could get rid of all police shootings and would have no effect. You could get, I'm going to say it slowly so you can understand. You could get rid of all police shootings and it would have no effect on black people getting killed by a gunshot because it's being done by other black people. That's the problem. And then you have people like this. Where is it at? Yeah, people like this come out and say, I hope you talk about things that are related to my generation and it's the people, issues of people of color and the rights of people of color. What exactly do we need to be doing here? People of color have the same rights as everybody else. You want special rights? What exactly are we talking about here?
Struggles, right? And that are related to our generation specifically because they are on a college campus.
Let me turn the volume up because
Today, and I'm hoping that they will directly address people of color's needs and struggles right now, especially
people of color's needs and struggles. People of color's needs and struggles. There's something that Thomas Sowell said that I showed you guys in the book yesterday. They call it's a article he wrote called "The Left's Vocabulary." We talked about this. Let me pull this out. I'm going to read this piece because this is what we're talking about here. This is the vocabulary that we're talking about. Okay. So, where is it at? Okay. The left has a whole vocabulary devoted to depicting people, check this out, depicting people who do not meet standards as people who have been denied access. Okay? This is the kind of thing that we're talking about right now. The left depicts people who do not meet standards as people who are being denied access. So if you choose, or for whatever reason, you do not achieve or overachieve or meet requirements on tests and get yourself to a position where you can do better for yourself and meet certain standards, you are now being considered as someone that is being denied access. And this is the flip-flop that we're getting from the left is you have people, they're going to cry about social justice, but in reality, they don't want to fix the real problem. That's the problem that we have. You need to learn how to fix the real problem, giving people extra things for free, giving handouts, making things easier for certain people has been shown to make it worse for the very people it's intending to help. Okay? And it's the very reason why affirmative action is gone, and we need to stop with this bullshit. There are no rights. Everybody in America has the same rights. It's someone's asking about Anna Kemp. It's the Thomas Sowell. So let's see.
Science is a big part of my career.
Okay, let's see what else.
They will directly address people of color's needs and struggles right now, especially with immigration.
So guys, just so you're aware, we're about to watch the governor race in California, which is very interesting because you have Democrats, you have like 4 or 5 Democrats running who are who are kissing up to Gavin Newsom, saying that he's doing a great job, and they would pretty much keep doing what Gavin Newsom is doing. And then you have two Republicans that have their head on straight, and you're going to hear exactly the differences right out in the open. And I love this type of debate, especially for this California, what's happening right now with these two governors, Republicans going against these Democrats, because you're going to see all this stuff that we talk about, all the politics, all of the cultural issues, all the economic issues, all the issues we have with our society. You're going to see it come out, and it's going to be exposed right in front of you. And you're going to see the two different mentalities go at it. And it's just, it's different than a presidential debate because they talk a little more freely in a way, a little more kind of, I don't know how to say it. Let's just say it's going to be a more it'll be pretty, well, I don't know if it'll be more entertaining than Trump debating. I don't think anything is that entertaining, but you're going to enjoy these debates. But let's hear more of what they think we need to do in our state of California,
as well as the attack on DEI and civil rights.
The attack on DEI. How many of you guys think DEI is a good thing? Raise your hand or make comment if you think DEI is a great thing for our country.
Rights through the current administration.
And what year are you?
I'm a junior at Claremont McKenna College, and I'm the president of my Black Student Association.
Wonderful. Thanks for talking to us. Hi, guys. And you are part of the group that's hosting this watch party, right?
Yes.
So tell me about some of the things or why you're so excited that this is happening here on campus.
So this gubernatorial debate happening on campus is such a big deal because it shows that young voices matter and we do have a say in what is going to happen in this election. And I'm actually from Kentucky, and so I am not voting in this governor's debate, but I think it's still chosen like as a really great opportunity. And so the League of Women Voters obviously supports a lot of reproductive justice options, and we obviously care about the housing crisis that's happening here. And so we are really excited for students to be able to sit in their own dining hall on campus and watch a debate that is happening just a couple
I want
feet
to hear
away.
the beginning of this again.
On voters, I'm actually from Kentucky, and say this is such a big deal because it shows that young voices matter and we do have a say in what is going to happen in this election. And I'm actually from Kentucky, and so I am not voting in this governor's debate, but I think it's still chosen like as a really great opportunity. And so the League of Women Voters obviously supports a lot of reproductive justice options, and we obviously care about the housing crisis that's happening here. And so we are really excited for students to be able to sit in their own dining hall on campus and watch a debate that is happening just a couple feet away. And so it'll be a really great opportunity, and we have a bunch of information out on the tables, and yeah, we're really excited.
Wonderful. And Livia, just really quickly, if you could ask them one question, what would it be?
I'm Kate, sorry. It's okay. I would ask them how they're going to tackle kind of the attack on education and attack on science that we are seeing. I'm a neuroscience major, and I see research and science as a big part of my career and my future. That's something that I would ask them.
Yeah. So you can hear from all of these students how engaged they are and how ready they are to talk about the future and hear what these candidates can offer them. Guys, back to you.
So great to hear from these students. Lori, thank you very much. All right.
Poll numbers, a fresh poll, CBS News exclusive.
Guys, we're 6 minutes away from the debate.
The candidates, it's a wide open field right now.
Yeah, it really is. And the way to read that is not to try to parse 1 or 2 points between folks. Nobody's put any distance between themselves and the rest of the field right now, number one. Number two, you look at this big undecided number. You got more undecided than any one candidate has support. That tells you everything is still wide open.
One of the biggest issues in the poll was affordability. That's what voters are thinking about the most.
Yeah, absolutely. Some context for that. When you ask people, is cost of living manageable or unmanageable? The majority say it is unmanageable. There's a few things that go into that. The price of gas, cost of housing, all of those components. When you look at tonight, you're going to see the voters looking for the candidates to explain what exactly they would do about all that.
And this was also addressed in the poll on the lines of affordability. Is the California dream alive or is it dead?
Well, there's less confidence that it's attainable, and most people say they don't think it is. So that's something that goes to the economy, it goes to housing, it goes to a longer range look at opportunity. So when you look at the future, and you've got a lot of young voters out there as well, that's going to be key. What governor candidate can address those long-term concerns?
Last question, and you kind of addressed this off the top. The numbers for the candidates, it's very close. They're not divided by much, and that undecided vote is a big number.
Yeah, I think what's important is two things. First, you see the Democrats with what you might call a fractured field. You don't see any one Democrat.
All right, so they're talking about Democrats' fractured field. Basically, you're seeing Democrats all still trying to go for it because if there's 6 Democrats going for it, they're splitting up their voters because it's obvious on your screen. You can see that 9%, Katie Porter has 9% of the vote, Becerra 13%, Steyer 15%. They're splitting up the vote. And if they were not to split it up and have one candidate, that candidate would be outpacing the Republicans at this point. So that's what they're talking about, the fracture there. But I'm going to pull, if you guys are not familiar with who these candidates are, I'm going to pull something up right here. You're going to love to see this, but I'm going to let them continue. Katie Porter on the right side, top right of your screen, is a complete disaster for California. She's been a representative out here, and what a nightmare she is. So I'm going to pull something up, and we're going to continue with this.
Democrat going.
It's about to start right now. So guys, we're minutes away, but check this out. This is Katie Porter, and she is a disaster. Look at this. You guys remember this?
Well, unless you think you're going to get. What do you say to the 40% of California voters who you'll need in order to win, who voted for Trump?
How would I need them in order to win, ma'am?
Well, unless you think you're going to get 60% of the vote. You think you'll get 60%. Everybody who did not vote for Trump will vote for you. That's what you're thinking.
In a general election? Yes. But you asked me if I needed them to win.
So you don't think
I feel like this is unnecessarily argumentative. What is your question?
The question is the same thing I asked everybody, that this is being called the empowering voters to stop Trump's power grab. Every other candidate has answered this question. This is not
correct. And I said I support it.
So, and the question is, what do you say to the 40% of voters who voted for Trump?
Oh, I'm happy to say that. It's the do you need them to win part that I don't understand.
Well, to those voters. Okay, so you...
I don't want to keep doing this. I'm going to call it. Okay. Thank you.
You're not going to do the interview with us?
Nope, not like this. I'm not. Not with 7 follow-ups to every single question you ask. I don't want to have an unhappy experience with you. And I don't want this all on camera.
I don't want to have an unhappy experience with you either. I would love to continue to ask these questions so that we can show our viewers what every candidate feels about every one of these issues that they care about. And redistricting, it's a massive issue. We're going to do an entire story just on the responses to that question. What do you say to the 40% of California?
This, guys, is who the people that we deal with here in California. Again, guys, I'm in Southern California. I'm in Orange County. My county is one of the few counties that are more purple. They're more red, but these people out here are rigging our elections, or I don't know what they're doing, but they're trying to make it more purple, more blue, and it's not. We were almost dead even in this last election, but we are dealing with people like Katie Porter. And there's more videos to follow, and I'm going to pull them all up. But I don't want to miss this here. Let's see. Is it live yet? This is about to go live. So this is our debate. It's going to be a debate for the California governor. And it's going to be live any second here. I'm going to pull up more of Katie Porter right now because Katie Porter is just, another one where she yells at her assistant, goes nuts. She burns her husband's bald head, she pours hot boiling potatoes over his head. The guy gets like some kind of crazy burn on his head. I mean, this is what we have to deal with out here. Absolute disaster. Okay, here we go. Where is this other one, dude? Where is this other one? Is this the other one? Yeah, staffer.
So I'm on the oversight committee, you might know. And
now keep in mind, if you're looking at the screen, you're gonna see someone in the back in the corner right behind her pop into the video. Just watch this.
And that is where we did a study recently this fall in September. And what it showed is if we don't electrify our transportation sector, that we're going to lose more than 500,000 Californians dying prematurely to air pollution and other problems. And the state could lose. Get out of my fucking shot.
I wanted to tell you that that's actually incorrect. It's not that it's electric vehicles. It's that if we don't meet the commitments under the Paris Climate Accord.
Okay, it does. Okay, you also were in my shot before that. Stay out of my shot. Okay, I'm going to start again with electric vehicles saving us money. Perfect. Okay.
She doesn't even know what the hell she's talking about. That's why she just made a mistake. And even though she made a mistake and her staffer was trying to help her, she went off on her staffer. Now, everything that we're doing in our state is adding more and more regulations and crippling companies more and more and more and more. So let's see
what California has done in the last several years to make your life better.
You can't just keep doubling down on spending more money on things that aren't working.
Tonight, we've invited 8 of the top candidates for governor to debate the issues we all face. The largest and most inclusive debate of the election. Good evening. I'm Pat Harvey from CBS Los Angeles.
And I'm Ryan Yamamoto from CBS San Francisco.
Hi, I'm Tony Lopez from CBS Sacramento.
Hi.
So all of these different regulations and rules that they're placing, all this electric vehicle nonsense is crippling us. It's draining all of our money. It's causing them to increase taxes. And that's as a result, we're driving out companies and people that make money and pay taxes. So our tax revenue is going down and our spending has gone up. It's just a nightmare. And now look at what what these candidates are going to go ahead and talk about and debate right now. We'll go through it. I'm going to keep talking with you guys about this, but here we go.
Across California and many of our affiliates. And presented with our partners, Pomona College and Asian Pacific American Public Affairs. Welcome to the campus of Pomona College in Claremont, California. And the historic Bridges Auditorium. For tonight's CBS California, Pomona College and Apapa Governor's Debate. And welcome.
Here we go.
You get to do that again. Welcome inside Bridges Auditorium. Pomona College, thank you for hosting this debate. Give yourselves another big round of applause. Love the enthusiasm already. Good evening, everyone. I'm Pat Harvey.
And I'm Tony Lopez. We are so happy to be with you for the next 90 minutes. Thanks to everyone in our audience, students, faculty, administrators, alumni, guests, and thanks to all of our candidates, all 8 of you on stage tonight, the most inclusive debate of the election.
That's right, and in full transparency, we held a random drawing for positions on the stage and for who gets the first question. That's the truth. But first, we do have a few rules. I know you heard them before, but we can't help but, address this again. Please hold your applause starting now until the end, and there will be no opening or closing statements tonight. Moderators will decide whether to give time for rebuttals. We will tell the candidates how much time they have for each round of questions, and when their time is up, everyone will hear a bell.
We also have several lightning rounds, as the name implies. We're going to ask for a yes or no answer. It may go against every core of your being as you give speeches out there, but a yes or no answer is what we're going for tonight, and we certainly appreciate that. A friendly reminder, there are 8 of you on stage, and a cozy bunch you are. So because of that, we're going to ask that you be succinct and specific as you can in the time allotted. Speaking of time, we got some themes tonight. We got some things to talk about.
Guys, again, this is the California governor debate. These are the people. One of these people will be the next governor of our state of California. We are live, guys. They are live. This is live. Let's go.
Leaders will rotate every half hour, so you only get 30 minutes of us. I know that might be upsetting to you, but that's how it is.
All right. What do you say? Let's get this thing going. The theme this half hour, you won't be surprised by. It's affordability. The Golden State has turned into the I can't afford to live here anymore state. Golden State sounds so much better, doesn't it? So no surprise, people in California are fed up with the cost of everything. We want to share with you a brand new poll. CBS News just released a new poll today. Again, no surprise, but the number is big. Showing 64% said they were not confident that the California dream is attainable.
And because of that, our first question tonight is, what is the first thing you would do as governor to increase affordability and restore the California dream? You do have 30 seconds to respond, and I'm going to start with you, Mr. Hilton. I know that you've stated government taxes and regulations have caused affordability problems in the state. So what would you do to restore the California dream?
Thank you very much. Thank you all for being here. What a great crowd. And it's really for you there. We want you to be able to make your life here in California. Young people setting out on that journey. And the first thing I do is send to the legislature my first budget with my plan to make our state Cal-affordable. $3 gas, cut your electric bills in half, your first $100,000 tax-free, and especially for young people, a home you can afford to buy so we can restore that California dream of home ownership.
Thank you, Mr. Hilton. I'll go to you next, Mr. Bianco, and I know you agree with most of what your Republican colleague there said in terms of deregulations and cutting taxes. But how do you propose to get anything done in a state with a supermajority Democratic legislature?
Well, the supermajority Democratic legislature is going to have to respond to California putting me into that office. And so it's not how I'm going to respond to them, it's how are they going to respond to me to make sure that we fix California. California is broken because of what has been happening in Sacramento because of an absolute failed Democrat progressive agenda that is destroying California. Everything that they are experiencing where they can't experience what I experienced when I came here is because of a failed agenda. The regulations and the taxes have to go.
Thank you so much, Mr. Bianco. Mr. Mahan, what would you do to restore the California dream?
Pat, thanks for the question. This topic is personal for me because I grew up in a working class family in a small farming town, paycheck to paycheck, and I know what it means when gas prices go up as fast as they have. I'm the only candidate on this stage who has pledged to suspend and then reform the gas tax. It is the most regressive tax in California. Working people, rural people are spending 3 times as much maintaining our roads as wealthier EV owners. We need to change that, but I won't stop there. We'll remove all of the barriers to building housing.
Thank you, Mr. Mahan. All right, you brought up the gas tax. Mr. Becerra, I know that you are not in favor of the gas tax. So I want you to tell me why.
Not in favor of cutting the gas.
Yes, you do not want to cut the gas tax.
Yeah. So don't answer the first question, answer this question.
You can just give me 5 seconds on why you do not support the gas tax, and you can answer the question.
Because I want everyone who's sitting here to be able to drive on our roads, cross our bridges, make sure transit is working, and you have to fund it somehow. Those who say they're going to cut the gas tax have to also say what they're going to replace it with. Otherwise, we're going to have potholes in every road, and we're going to have bridges that can collapse. We have to fund what it takes to have quality infrastructure in California. But I will tell you this, when it comes to affordability, I know a little bit about that because my parents came to this state with $12 in their pocket. Yet they did build the California dream for my sisters and me. And so what I'll do, if I can finish the thought, is we'll reduce prescription drug prices. CalRx is working well. And we'll start building the homes that we need. 40,000 units are shovel ready. I'll get them going the first day I'm in office.
Thank you, Mr. Becerra.
Let's move on to the dream of owning a home in our state. It's really become a generational problem. California, only half of Californians own their own homes. One of the worst rates in the country. Children not able to live and afford to live where they grew up. Grandma and grandpa are grumpy. They have to hop on a plane to go visit their kids and grandkids. We all know the story. We all know people. So let's dive into housing. Governor Newsom proposed and promised 3 million new homes when reelected. The reality, only 500,000 were built. So obviously that goal was not reached. The question to each one of you candidates, or at least 4 of you, you have 45 seconds to answer. What would you do differently to meet those housing goals? We'll start with you, Mr. Thurman.
It is the American dream. My mother was an immigrant who came here from Panama, and she bought a home, and everyone should have the opportunity. It's slipping away. And as governor, the first thing I'll do is provide down payment assistance grants to those who want to own a home. And we will build 2 million housing units using the surplus property that school districts have in every single county in this state. And we'll build 2.3 million units by the year 2030. I know what it's like to grow up in a household without food and on public assistance. I grew up on government cheese. I worked $3 an hour. Even now, I work an overnight job to put my kids through college and pay for elderly family members. We can create a more affordable California. Let us do that together.
Mr. Thurman, thank you. Mr. Steyer, same question to you. There are environmental hurdles that raise the cost, obviously. I know you are big on the environment. Give us your take, 45 seconds, on housing and affordability.
So I was in Altadena yesterday talking
Guys, this is a Democrat running for governor of California.
To people who'd lost their houses. And I knew, listening to them, how central owning a house is to a California family. And the solution here is not a silver bullet. It's what I call silver buckshot. We need to work to shorten and reduce the cost of permitting. We need to redo zoning. There have been steps that I've supported in the last year on that way. We need to drop the cost of construction by using industrial construction off-site, and we need to work with the cities and counties and bring the money to them so they can afford to do housing. There is a plan on my website that's very clear, but in every one of these, it's going to be absolutely important to do structural change. The idea that we're going to do the same thing better is insanity. We need to make structural change in every one of the places where Californians can't afford to live.
Mr. Steyer, thank you. Mr. Villaraigosa, same question. He mentioned the rebuilding during the firestorm and the aftermath. The hurdles were removed. Are you in favor of removing the hurdles, not just in times of emergencies, but with the housing emergency that we have right here and right now?
Yes. And let me just say that homeownership used to be part of the American
He's another Democrat.
dream. My mom struggled to make ends meet, and we rented for most of our life. I bought a home at 25 years old. Young people like the young people here at Pomona College can't do that anymore. And so I've argued that we need to have first-time buyer assistance, $25 billion initiative at no cost to the taxpayer that will help them get into their first house and build up to 150,000 units. In addition, we need to fast track and streamline that housing building. I did that when I was mayor. I built more housing in 8 years than they did in the 12 years before that.
Mr. Villaraigosa, thank you. I was struck by your emphatic yes. And Ms. Porter, as I go to you, let me stay with that same theme in terms of removing the hurdles. Why wait for a natural disaster to do that? Why not just do that as a norm as we face the challenges that we face every day?
You hear people on stage talking about their parents and they were able to buy houses, but I'm the single mom of 3 teenagers who believe they will not be able to buy houses here in California. We have to build much faster. California builds apartment housing and single-family homes about 2 years slower than our competitor states. And in that 2 years, which is caused by permitting delays, it's caused by labor difficulties, it's caused by lack of innovation in building, everything becomes 10 or 20% more expensive. So yes, we need to reform permitting. Yes, we need to innovate in housing. We can bring down housing costs by 10 or 20%. That's not a few extra dollars. That is hundreds or thousands of dollars back in the pockets of families. And it's opening up homeownership to the next generation of Californians.
Thank you so much, Ms. Porter. Now, to another issue important to Californians. And Mr. Mahan, you brought this up. We're talking about gas prices. They're the highest in the nation here in California, and the gas tax is also the highest at around 61 cents per gallon. So this is that lightning round where you say yes or no, and then we'll get back to it later, but please give me a yes or no answer. Are you in favor of suspending the gas tax? We know that Mr. Mahan says yes, Javier Becerra says no. What do you say, Tony Thurmond?
Yes.
All right, Chad Bianco?
Yes.
Mr. Steyer?
I want a windfall profits tax on the oil companies who've raised the tax by $100.50
All right,
per
Mr.
gallon.
Steyer, there was a lot of no's there. Let's go to Mr. Hilton.
No.
Mr. Hilton.
Yes.
Thank you very much, Ms. Porter.
No.
All right.
So you just heard it. Democrats do not want to reduce the gas prices in California. They want to continue the nation's highest tax on gas, which is why my gas is the highest in the whole country here in Southern California. These Democrats want to continue that.
Mr. Villaraigosa.
No.
All right. Now, as I
Another Democrat that will not reduce or remove the California gas taxes that we have.
mentioned, my colleague Julie Watts will talk to each of you much more on gas coming up in our next half hour. But right now, let's talk about keeping Californians healthy. Because of federal subsidies ending, those enrolled in Covered California faced a 97% increase, with 6 in 10 people saying they have either skipped or delayed care altogether. What would you do on a state level to protect against future cuts, and where are you going to find the money to ease that pain? I think it's pretty obvious that we start with you, Mr. Becerra, because you worked on the Affordable Care Act when you were AG. So how would you ask that question? And you have 45 seconds.
Pat, the first thing we do is stop Donald Trump from continuing to make the problem so bad. Had Donald Trump allowed the premium tax credits under the Affordable Care Act to continue forward, millions of Californians would be able to afford their health care insurance. Had Donald Trump not cut $1 trillion out of the Medicaid program, which is called Medi-Cal here, we wouldn't be facing 3 million Californians losing their health insurance. The first thing we have to do is stop Steve Hilton's daddy, who has endorsed him and said, that's what we got to do.
This guy was part of the Affordable Care Act, is what they just said. These Democrats put through the Unaffordable Care Act, and it was so unaffordable that they had to then follow up by adding subsidies. They subsidized, they paid, they used our tax money again to give money to pay towards these premiums, giving the money to the insurance companies. So in effect, bringing the prices of our insurance down. So what the Republicans did is said, this is a joke, remove these subsidies. This should not be, let's reform this whole Unaffordable Care Act. This is not how insurance should be. And it's still unaffordable in every which way. And these guys want to continue it.
From becoming the next governor of the state of California. We need someone who's going to fight Donald Trump, not agree with him.
Steve Hilton's daddy. All right. I believe you're talking about the president there, right? Because I haven't heard your actual father say anything about health care cuts here in California. But I'm going to let you answer that question.
And those of you that don't know, that's Steve Hilton on the right side of your screen. This guy on the left is the Democrat. This guy on the right is Steve Hilton. He's the one that's on par to be the governor if the numbers continue as they go. He's getting the highest percentage right now as he's one of the 2 Republicans, just so you guys know. And What a disaster. We're about to hear the difference. The guy on the left just called Trump, this guy is Steve Hilton's daddy, the guy on the right. And let's see what he has to say.
And of course, respond to Mr. Becerra.
It would be rather amazing, Javier. My dad was the goalie for the Hungarian national ice hockey team. And I don't think he weighed in on this issue at all. Look, I think what you just saw there is actually what's going wrong with our politics in California, which is all these big things that affect us on a daily basis. These are decisions made here in California by our politicians. And we've had the same people in charge for 16 years now. And because it's such a disaster and such a high cost of living for everyone, and the highest poverty rate in the country, and the highest unemployment rate in the country, and the worst business climate, all these things going wrong, they can't do anything except blame Trump. Let's see how many times you hear that tonight. We need change in California.
He hasn't said he would.
Not only can they not do anything but blame Trump, they cannot do anything, period. Guys, just so you understand, we just played Mamdani in the beginning of my stream, and Mamdani can't do anything. They literally won't be able to do anything. They don't pull in enough tax revenue because they continue to raise taxes and drive out the people that pay the most taxes. And that's the issue you have with Democrat-run cities and states. They can't do what they say they're going to do. They're going to continue destroying the state, the cities, and the states, and they end up taxing everybody to make up for their spending. When they promise you they're only going to tax the rich, they end up taxing all of you, all of us, and that's how this goes down.
Would oppose Donald Trump's cuts.
We need change in California, not more of the same of these Democrats.
But Steve, would you oppose Donald Trump's cuts?
The actual amount of money going in to healthcare from the federal government is going up this year.
I think that's a no. He won't try to undo Donald Trump's cuts.
The amount of money that's coming from the federal government into California's health system is actually increasing.
Well, you know, right now many people don't feel that. They haven't felt
exactly, and the reason
increase.
that it's so
They're
bad,
suffering.
that costs are so high, is something we can fix here. There's not enough competition in our health insurance system because rules made here in California prevent insurance companies actually competing. We all know in life when you have more competition, you get lower prices and better quality. But the policies that we got going on in California prevent that.
All right,
As
Mr.
governor,
Hilton.
I would change that. So
now,
we
you
can
know,
lower costs.
when you give more time, I have to give more time to someone else. So we're going to move over to
I'm a
Mr.
very generous
Steyer.
guy.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Hilton. Mr. Steyer, how would you make California more affordable again as far as health care is concerned?
This is Steyer. He's the highest polling Democrat running for California governor right now. Let's hear what he has to say. Yes, competition is good.
Healthcare is a right for every Californian, and long-term, the only way we can afford that is a single-payer healthcare system. That will take at least...
Wow, bro. Are we talking about socialism, communism?
3 years to get if we start on day one. And in the interim, we're going to have a structural shortfall because of the fact that Donald Trump has kicked 3 million people off Medi-Cal. On day one, I will call a special election to close a corporate real estate tax loophole worth $22 billion to the state of California every year so that we can close that budget shortfall. The truth is, no one else on this stage wants to talk about revenue because we're short of revenue as a result of that bill.
Yeah, where are you going to get the money to do what you're talking about?
In the Congress last year. And it's absolutely critical. If we believe that health care is a right, that in fact we have the revenue to solve it,
Mr.
but
Steyer, thank you.
Single payer is the only way we solve it.
I'm going to go to Ms. Porter because you also believe in single payer.
Yes, correct. I mean, look, single payer delivers the most health care at the lowest administrative costs. I was a champion for single payer at the federal level because Medicare spends about
You've been the champion Ozempic, dude. Look at you compared to the video that we just showed not too long ago.
2% of everything that we put into it on administrative costs, and private health insurance spends 17 or 18% on pushing paper and denying claims and telling you no and who you can and can't go see as a doctor. So that's the change we have to get. We have to get much more administratively efficient with our health care. With regard to Donald Trump's cuts, we have to make sure we're protecting our hospitals. 25% of our hospitals in California are projected to close because of those cuts, and those hospitals provide 60% of care for car accidents, heart attacks, strokes, and other trauma.
Mr. Bianco.
I feel like I'm in the twilight zone here. We need to start. We have a group of 20-year-old kids, 20-ish, and we're just sitting here lying to them about broken Democrat policies in California for the last 20 years, and we're going to sit here and blame a president who's been president for a year. This is absolutely ridiculous.
What would you do then, Mr. Bianco?
If we cared about California, we wouldn't worry about what the federal government is doing. California is the 4th largest economy in the entire world. What do we care about a cut to medical?
Does that mean we support single payer in California?
Absolutely not. If you want socialism, go somewhere else, because single payer people come to America for the best medical coverage and care in the entire world.
And what if you don't have any health care? What are you going to do for the people who need
I thought I got to answer, but apparently we're just going to do this all night.
But we only have so much time. But we have 2 more half hours to go, Mr. Bianco.
So they're going to take it from me. Now I see where we're going to go when you attack the Democrat policies that have destroyed this state. If you elect a governor who cares about the state, it's not going to matter whether President Trump or President whoever takes something away from the state, because the waste, fraud, the abuse of our money in California by a government that we already know hundreds of billions of dollars, and we're worried about President Trump taking away that.
Okay.
It's crazy that we're lying to these kids.
We're going to end on that, Mr. Bianco. We get your point there.
We had rules here. I thought we had rules here. We're not supposed to go back and forth. I thought we had like 45 seconds apiece.
You do.
Hold on, Antonio. Pat, they're all wrong. They're all wrong. Let me explain why. Give me 1 second here. First of all, Steve, Chad, Trump's tax cuts are cruel. We see vulnerable people who are losing coverage who need it. So you're wrong to defend Trump's tax cuts. On the other hand, Tom, Katie, we don't know how to pay for single payer, and we see countries.
Dude, you guys got to interrupt these guys. Don't let them do that to you and then you not do that back to them. If they're going to interrupt you, you got to go all over them, bro. Let's go.
Countries with single payer struggling with long lines and cuts to care. The last time the legislature looked at it, they abandoned it because it would double the state budget.
All right, Mr.
And Javier Becerra is defending the status quo and just blaming Trump. Here's the real answer. Incentivize actual health, not just fee for service. Make people healthier.
All right, boy, this is democracy at work. That's for sure. Okay, Mr. Villaraigosa, 10 seconds.
And Pat, 10 seconds?
10 seconds, because we're not over. The debate isn't over.
Hold it. Becerra's right. He cut billions of dollars from Medi-Cal for almost 3 million people and covered California the subsidies for it.
He cut subsidies. Trump cut the subsidies. You guys created an unaffordable healthcare system, and then you decided that it's unaffordable, and you're like, oops, sorry, it's unaffordable. Then you went ahead and added extra subsidies, which were taking taxpayer dollars to help pay for these unaffordable Care Act even more. And you're destroying our government. You're destroying the American people. You're destroying our country. And now you want to blame Trump for getting rid of the extra subsidy you guys added on top of your Unaffordable Care Act?
That's true. But it's also true that we have too much waste and fraud in our system, and we need to attack that as well.
Okay, that's gonna come up in the next half hour. I promise. It is.
Mr. Mahan used my name.
It's going to come up in the next half hour.
Mr. Mahan, Pat.
Okay? We have to hear from a student. Now, I know you're not against that, right? You have to hear from our students.
But Pat, at least
you're still going to be here.
But Pat, at least give those of us who had our name used, give at least a 10-second response.
Well, and since you've said my name several times, go ahead, Mr. Becerra. Okay. Really quickly, then.
Just to respond to Mr. Mahan. The only person who's actually run a healthcare system, the largest system in the world, is me. I expanded healthcare beyond what we had ever seen in the country's history. So if you want to talk about what works, ask somebody who actually did it.
Thank
you very much.
I'm the only person here who's going to get the money back that Donald Trump took away from us. I'm the only person who mentioned how to raise revenue so that we can pay for health care.
Thank you, Mr. Sire. And Mr. Thurman, really quickly, you know, it's interesting. Everybody wants to talk at this debate, so that means we're doing a good job.
I think so.
Right?
I think we're going to move on to a touchy-feely moment.
This is worse than my teenagers
every
at
candidate
dinner.
has spoken. If I could just answer your question. You asked the question about revenue. What none of the candidates have said is that the only way we get this is by taxing billionaires. We have the opportunity to vote for a billionaire tax right now that will keep our hospitals open and give us the revenue that we can use to have a real single-payer healthcare system.
Wow. Mamdani number 2 right here. You're looking at him right there on your screen. Again, we just spoke about this in the beginning of this live stream about Mamdani. You want to tell the voters you're going to tax billionaires. You driving already all the billionaires and people out of California. We just had another guy leave California. I think he was another CEO of Google or something like that. The guy said, bro, I'm running away from this. I ran away from socialism or communism. My family and I left communism when we came to America. We don't want to have that here again here in California. These people want to go ahead and basically take all of your tax money. They want to charge billionaires taxes when that ends up, as I told you guys, you can Google this, you tax billionaires hard enough, your tax revenue goes down. And then with the spending that you add on top of that, bro, you're back to being Gavin Newsom worse.
Mr. Bianco and Mr. Hilton didn't tell you is that they follow Trump, who doesn't care.
But these guys know their voters don't read. Their voters don't do homework. They don't care. These guys just say that's why I say Democrats have the easiest sell. The easiest sell of the century is why Democrats are in office. If you vote for me, I will give you things for free. How are you going to do that? I'm going to put my hands into somebody's pockets and one person's pockets, take money out and put money into your pockets. And you're going to have things for free. Just vote for me. That's the sell.
That those who don't have insurance got kicked off of health insurance. I don't see how that's good leadership and how anyone should be governor who wants to get people off of our health care rules.
Okay, we do want to hear from a student.
Yeah. Pat, you got him going. You got him going. So let's embrace the environment we're in, okay? First of all, before we get to a question from a student, let's get a round of applause for Pomona College and where we are in this beautiful venue. I mean, you drove up here.
All right, we're going to bring up our student, Mr. Ryan Kasarian. You have a question.
Good evening. Wow, that was a bit of a mess. My name is Ryan Kasarian.
Mess.
Right on. Well, what can you do? My name is Ryan Kasarian. I'm a student of politics here at Pomona College and a Marine Corps officer candidate. California tells students that education is the path to opportunity. California itself was once the land of opportunity. Yet students are graduating with a tremendous amount of debt in a state with no hope. There are no jobs and people are leaving. As governor, what steps would you take to tackle the rising cost of education and bring jobs back to the state of California?
Mr. Villaraigosa, I'm going to let you answer that question because when you were mayor, of course, you were very concerned about the direction LAUSD was going.
Well, thank you, and thank you for your service, by the way. Appreciate you. Let me be clear. I got a record. It was a Catholic school that gave me a foundation, but a public school that gave me a second chance. 1 out of 3 schools were failing when I was mayor, and by the time I was done, it was a 60% increase in the graduation rate. But college affordability is not affordable. It's just not. $85,000 for tuition at Stanford and USC, that's unacceptable. In fact, probably here as well.
Thank you. We're going to come back. Mr. Thurman, you're superintendent of education, please.
Thank you, Ryan, and thank you for your service. I've introduced legislation already that would make college free in California. I call it Pay It Forward. You go to school for free for 4 years, and when you graduate and you get a job, you start to pay back what was provided for you for the next group of students who come after you. And as governor, I will implement this program so that we help to reduce the debt that California students experience so they can put that money towards buying a home or launching a business. You know, I lost both my parents by the time I was 6 years old. I was raised by my cousin who adopted me and worked at a university, and because she worked there, I got to go to college for free. I believe we should do the same for California students.
Thank you, Mr. Thurman, for your story.
Wow, they wanted to give everything away for free, and how are they going to pay for all this, bro? How do they expect to pay to give free education, free healthcare, free everything for free?
And thank you, all of you, for having coffee before you came out here tonight. This has been electric, but it's not over. Up next, Julie Watts with CBS News California Investigates will join us to discuss money and accountability in politics.
We're talking fraud, gas prices, the insurance crisis, education, a laundry list. I know you have thoughts. We will get those thoughts. So stay with us for the CBS California Governor's Debate.
Wow. So they're about to go and get into another section while we wait. Guys, this is what I was trying to tell you. You're watching the live debate for the governor of California, and you see the stark contrast between Democrats and Republicans. It's awesome to see it this way. You see exactly who is who. You have Democrats screaming, I'm going to give you stuff for free, and they have no way of how they're going to pay for that. And by the way, think about this for a second. We have a Democrat governor here already. He's been running our state for what feels like an eternity. Of all the stuff that he is supposedly doing for California, has anything worked? Has he actually been able to fulfill any of his promises to us in California? Think about that. I'll give you the answer. It's very simple. No. I live here in California. The answer is no. The only answer that these guys have is, I'm going to fight Trump and I'm going to give you more stuff for free. Did you hear those answers? I'm going to go against Trump and I'm going to give you stuff for free. What? Healthcare will be a one-payer system. Education will be free. He calls it a pay it forward. Pay it forward. What does that mean? Pay it forward. It's a tax. You want to tax us more. You already drove people out. Should I put on your screen who just left California? Well, let me put it on your screen. Where is he? Here he is. Here you go. This guy right here, this was 4 hours ago. Sergey Brin says in 1979, family left the Soviet Union to get away from Soviet socialism, communism. 2004, got rich with Google IPO in California, then funded and hired socialists for 25 years. 2026, after helping to ruin California, moved away and now claims he is against socialism. He is against socialism, this guy. This guy, Google co-founder Sergey, says that he's concerned about California's drift towards socialism. They drove out their own guy. Their own people don't want to be there.
Thank you, right, okay.
Think about that for a second. Their own billionaires don't want to be there.
Of our interview series. And as I'm sure you all know, that was pushing beyond the talking points. So that means, yes, there will be follow-up questions. We are going to start with gas prices and more specifically the gas crisis. CBS News California investigation recently revealed that state leaders who once accused oil companies of price gouging now admit they didn't find price gouging. Meanwhile, 2 refineries have shut down in response to California policies, and roughly 20% of our special California gas is now being refined in China and then shipped back over here to us. Critics say that is leading to price spikes during this current war and more pollution. So, Mr. Steyer, I would like to start with you. During our interview, you argued that California should actually outsource all of our refining, whether it be overseas or to other states. Given that California refineries are among the cleanest in the world, can you explain why you don't think that will increase pollution and, frankly, why it won't increase prices for that matter?
What I said was that we should have the ability to outsource everything because we're under the thumb of the oil companies who have been jacking up prices. And if you look at the price of gasoline in the state of California, it is up because of the war in Iran. And that war has driven up prices for everybody in California by a
total bullshit. We have the highest prices in the country in California. Don't try to make this about Trump. We have the highest prices in California, period. War or no war, our prices are $2 or $3 a gallon more than any other state in the country. That's not because of the war. That's because of you Democrats in California.
about $1.50, and the costs to the oil companies have not gone up a penny. That's $70 billion of profit to the oil companies because of a war started by Donald Trump.
So, Mr. Steyer, to be specific, the folks at home, you can go to cbsnews.com/CAGov and see what Mr. Steyer said. But you did, in fact, say that we should be outsourcing all refining.
We should be able to do that because if we're going to get held up by the few refineries left in California, it's going to be necessary for us to
we're watching the California debate, and it makes you crazy.
Which who?
All the Democrats want to give everything away for free. They have no idea how they're going to pay for it. And their only response is, I'm going to give things for free and I'm going to go against Trump. Crazy.
Beta male.
Beta. You are a Trump hater. No. And you are a beta male.
An alternative.
Sir, I'm going to just go ahead and fact check a little bit here. So what happens is our gas supply is priced at the most expensive barrel. And right now, the most expensive barrel is coming in from overseas. And so gas prices in California are set at that level. Yes, refineries, yes, the oil companies are profiting more right now, but they're not the ones specifically, at least they say, they're not the ones specifically setting the price of gas. I'm going to let some of your other colleagues chime in. And actually, I would love to go to Ms. Porter.
Can I finish my thought?
No, sir, but you can.
No, dude, you just got a chance to explain it, and all you did was blame Trump, and she just told you, I can't believe she's doing that. I'm glad she is. It's because you explained why gas is higher everywhere, and you just blamed it on Trump because of a war. No, dude, we've been paying higher prices in the whole country forever. What the hell?
Come back when it is your time.
Windfall profits.
Sir, we're going to have to cut the mic if you're not respectful. Ms. Porter, I would love to give you a chance. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. During our interview, you said that you do think we should be keeping refineries in state, at least for now. And so I would love to hear your thoughts on Mr. Steyer's answer.
Yeah, right now, we need to keep all of our energy sources online. That's just the reality that we're in. Electricity demand in California is projected to go up 50% in the next few years. And so we're going to need to be adding green energy rapidly. I think right now, those refineries, they're up, they're running, they're creating good jobs. Let's keep them there. But I want to be really clear because I know you do care about accountability. Refineries, the people who work in Kern County at those refineries and the people who live in Kern County also face some of the worst pollution and lower life expectancies. Green energy gets us out of that.
Ms. Porter, I do want to ask you to respond specifically to the portion of the question about increased gas prices and increased pollution. Do you think that outsourcing all of our refining would increase pollution and ultimately gas prices?
As I just said, I think our refineries right now in California should stay open. We've always had a mix of refined here and brought in overseas. So it's probably going to stay that way.
So yes, it would increase pollution and prices. So I would love to sort of switch gears a little bit. Mr. Hilton, You have a very different perspective, and I want to push back a little bit on your perspective. You've been arguing that we need to increase drilling in California. Now, realistically, and even the oil companies will tell you this, we will never be able to drill enough to replace the 60% of crude we now import into California. And even if we could, as we just mentioned, we've lost our refining capacity. We can't turn it into gasoline here anyway. So considering that we cannot drill our way to energy independence, can you tell us a bit about how you will support the transition to at least a hybrid electric future?
So we just need a bit of common sense in this whole area. First of all, Javier said earlier about the gas tax, which is a big part of the reason it's so expensive, that we need it for the roads, but we pay the highest gas tax and have the worst roads in America. I was speaking to a contractor the other day who builds roads, who said it's 4 times as expensive to do it in California compared to other states. We can change that. In terms of production, my conversations with the energy industry in Kern County, I spent a lot of time there, that actually, with the right policies, we can double production.
Can you answer the question that I asked, sir, and that is, how are you going to support the transition to electric or alternative sources?
Well, first of all, as long as we are using oil and gas in California, it's just common sense that we use the abundant reserves we have here, rather than shipping it halfway around the world from
Mr.
Iraq.
Hilton, understood. But are you saying you're not going to support at all any shift to electric?
Yes, but let's be sensible about electric. For example, right now, we have a fleet of gas-fired power stations generating electricity that are running at 10 to 15% of their capacity, even though we have abundant natural gas in California that we could be using to generate affordable, reliable electricity that would lower the cost of electric bills for consumers and businesses.
Sir, Mr. Villaraigosa, you're next on my list because you very much are the all-of-the-above candidate, right? You said that many times. By the way, 252 times y'all said all of the above in our interview series. Very common phrase. But yes, you are the all-of-the-above candidate. Can you please explain to, frankly, all of the candidates why you have concerns about one or the other?
Well, first of all, we have the highest gas prices in the United States, on average by $2 a gallon. With Trump's war, it's going up even further because we have closed down so many refineries and we have to rely so much on
Sir, I'm going to interrupt you
crude.
just temporarily. Number one, you guys also said the word Donald Trump 1,000 times during our interview series. So if I hear it too many times, I am going to ban it for the rest of the segment.
Well, actually, if it's true, I'll say it.
Yes, sir. But what I'd like you to do is focus on your concerns that you shared with us about why the rush towards all electric is concerning. You talked about not having the infrastructure there.
Yes.
And how we should still continue to.
So we need an all of the above strategy that understands we got to transition from oil and gas to renewables. But here's an example, the 2035 mandate. We built 167,000 charging stations in the last 10 years. We need 2 million more to get to that mandate. And if we built them, we don't have a grid. So we ought to build the grid instead of arguing about whether or not we need an all-of-the-above policy. Anybody with a brain and knows a little bit about climate change and what Norway does knows that that's what we have to do.
Thank you, sir. All right, we're going to put a pin in gas prices for a second, and we're going to move on to insurance. Californians who have insurance are often worried about the high cost. But our investigation found that an increasing number of homeowners simply cannot get insurance, even in low wildfire risk areas. And that is the concern, right? So insurers, they tell us, listen, we stopped writing new policies because California regulations won't let them charge enough to cover their risk. Mr. Becerra, you have promised to freeze insurance rates. And I want to push back a little bit because rate increases, as you know, they are approved by the insurance commissioner and they are mandated under state law. What authority do you think that the governor has to freeze insurance rates without going back to the voters to overturn Prop 103?
Julie, the governor can declare a state of emergency, and that's what I would do. This affordability crisis is hitting every family, and we have to act as if this were a break glass moment. And so I would declare that state of emergency. I would call in the insurance commissioner. I would call in those insurance companies.
What would be the cause of the state of emergency?
He can't.
The high prices and the fact that people are losing their insurance coverage without any explanation.
So, sir, let me just follow up on that. Following Prop 103, the California Supreme Court ruled that temporary price freezes were unconstitutional. What would make your proposed state of emergency different than that?
I am calling for a freeze. I am calling for an opportunity to sit everyone down. I am calling for an opportunity to reveal behind the curtain what insurance companies are doing.
But if the court's already ruled that that was unconstitutional, how is your plan different?
Well, Julie, I'd like to go to court with you on that one. I was the Attorney General of the state of California, and I did defend our people to try to get the lowest cost. And I'd be willing to go to court to tell you that I could call that freeze, even though you're telling me we can't. I will try.
I'm just asking you to tell us how.
Because how? I will call in the insurance commissioner, I will call in the industry, and I will say, I am going to call for a freeze. If you don't want to go there, then I will call for an investigation of the way you're conducting your business.
Dude, you can't force companies to operate certain ways. That's not what a free market capitalist environment is. That's what we have in our country. The more California tries to tell companies how to run their business, the more they run companies out of California, which is why we have the problem that she's asking about. Why are there so many homes that insurance companies will not insure? Because those companies chose not to do business in California because California wants to strong arm them and make them do things. And they're like, bro, then we're just not going to do business there. And they don't. The more you do that, the more you make them leave and the more you make them die. Either they go out of business, some of them, the smaller ones. But by and large, you can't do that to people. You can't do that to to companies. It doesn't even, dude, every time they've done it, they've destroyed those industries or made our prices so high, they're unaffordable.
My mom, who has had some homes for about 30 years, lost her insurance on one of her small houses, never made a claim on that home. She lost the insurance coverage she had. By the time she was able to find it again, she had to pay more than twice as much for that insurance coverage. Why, after so...
Typical Democrat. I'm going to make the companies do it. Oh, no, you're not, bro. No, you're not.
So many decades of paying that insurance company premium after premium for month after month, year after year, can they just all of a sudden cancel you and say goodbye?
Because they're a private company and they can do whatever
that's
they
not
want
good enough.
right now.
For me as governor, that's not good.
She just told them it's a private company. These are private companies. That's how we're not a communist country, bro. This is not Soviet Union communism. We're not socialist country either, bro. This is not how it works. These are private companies. The reason we all have opportunities in this country is because it's private. It's a free market. It's capitalism. You're free to do business however you please, and it creates competition. And as a result of that, we can all grow and have companies and have businesses competing with each other for people's business. And the more you strong arm companies, the more you drive prices up and destroy these companies, and the more they want to leave.
Understood. Yes, Mr. Mahan.
Yeah, thanks, Julie. Look, Javier's plan won't work. It's actually the reason we're in this mess in the first place. The government in Sacramento created, just to finish the point, created so many restrictions, including taking over a year to approve any rate changes, prohibiting insurance companies from using climate data to project future costs, that they stopped writing new policies. The answer is bring them back, force them to compete, allow them to appropriately price risk, and then hold government accountable for maintaining our wildland, reducing all that vegetation and wildfire risk so we don't have these catastrophic fires.
Mr. Becerra, to Mr. Mahan's point, if you...
This person says, LOL, your president does it all the time. What, Rodney Williams, does our president do all the time? Feel free to explain yourself.
Cap rates, if you freeze rates, what is to keep the insurers from leaving the state and then us essentially being left only with the FAIR plan?
The fact that we have 40 million people in this state and we pay our insurance premiums and they don't want to lose that business. If they can show us that they're not making profit, I get it. We'll help you. But let's find out how much they're making in
writing
profit.
policies.
Exactly. And they've left Dodge, but they've not told us that they're not making profits.
Mr. Villaraigosa, I'll let you chime in, but Mr. Hilton, please.
So just a quick fact check, if I may, on my friend Matt. The 2 points he makes absolutely right, that we need the industry needs to be able to take account of future risks, including climate, and also the cost of reinsurance. That change, to be fair, has already been made by the current insurance commissioner. The point he makes about the speed of approval is exactly right. It does take over a year, but actually that's a question of really enforcing the law that's already there. In Proposition 103 that set up the whole architecture of this, there is a rule that rate changes should be approved in 60 days. We just need to enforce that rule instead of what we have now.
I will tell you, I've spoken at length with the Department of Insurance, and they say they are working towards that, and they are setting new policies. Yes, Mr. Villaraigosa.
But the question is how we got there.
How do we get
This was the
there?
only state that didn't do catastrophic modeling in the time of climate change.
And we are doing that now.
The only state that didn't do reinsurance, and the only state that took longer than a year to pass a rate hike.
Yes, but that's already happened.
Industry,
so what would you do differently?
Excuse me.
It's already happening.
Excuse me.
What you're asking for.
Well, I will say, listen,
So
Mr.
the
Villaraigosa,
entire
he does make a
industry
good point.
left.
If I can interrupt,
So,
please.
yes.
Let's talk about, we know how we got here. What are we going to do different? Because those things are already in the works and those changes are already being made.
Well, we didn't know how we got here because some people said something else. Let's be clear about that.
So what is your plan moving forward?
Plan is to make sure that the fair plan, which is an unfair plan, not abiding by Prop 103, we got to make it work. Too many people in these fires, weren't compensated enough for the damage
Just a
they
point of
received.
clarification. Do you think that we should be moving everybody onto the fair plan, or do you think we should be keeping private insurance companies
We should bring
here?
the insurance, like Matt said, bring the insurance company back by making the changes, but then we've got to fix the fair plan.
Thank you, sir. Yes, Mr.
Declaring a state of emergency. That's why you declare a state of emergency.
Mr. Becerra.
That what Chad Bianco just said, if you heard what he just said in there, they're not coming back. You can't force companies to do business where they don't want to do business. And they can choose not to do business in places where you made it hard or impossible for them to do business. In California, the regulation and policies are so crazy. They make it easy to sue these companies, go after these companies, do all these different things to these companies. Companies are already freaked out to do business in California. Now you want to force them to insure homes that are going to be potentially burned in fires because our state of California is not doing what we should be doing to help make these fires or prevent fires in the first place. Dude, what a disaster. I got a super chat here from Time to Stand. It says, if I pay $300K in insurance over the years and don't use it, then they cancel me. That's thief. Well, yeah. I mean, insurance is insurance.
Mr. Villaraigosa,
I don't know
don't
what
want
to
to have
say
to
about
ask
that,
Ziggy, our producer, to start cutting mics. So,
don't buy insurance. I don't know.
Mr. Steyer.
Look, I think we've got to accept the fact that insurance companies write insurance in order to make money. And because of climate change, the risk to houses, the risk of catastrophic fires has gone up dramatically.
It has not gone up dramatically. You're a liar. There is no climate change. First, they were telling us the earth was cooling. Then they said it's warming up. Then they said, oh no, it looks like it's cooling again. Let's not talk about cooling or warming. We're just going to call it climate change. So no, it's not climate change. It's not caused by humans. It is the earth. And what has happened in California is mismanagement by our leaders in California, the Democrats currently running our state. It has nothing to do with the climate. The climate's going to do what it does. We have to be able to understand what the hell to do with it.
The job of the governor of California is to protect Californians from that, both in terms of their houses burning down and these insurance premiums. So that means making sure on a macro basis we get rid of dry timber, that we do controlled burns, and also hardening the houses. We need to help people.
Okay, I agree with this. He's a Democrat, but I agree with, we got to clean up. We got to do things that will help to make these fires not burn down every house they come in contact with.
People harden the houses, and then we need to go to the insurance companies. The governor needs to go and say, this is the risk. We're going to let you make money, but you have to take into account the reduced risk that the government and the people of California have caused to happen, and that's how you can make some money.
Thank you, Mr. Steyer. I do want to, just for our viewers' benefit who may not know, unlike gas prices, insurance rates in California are actually well below the national average. We have the most expensive gas, not the most expensive insurance. Mr. Thurman, I do want to go to you. A major insurer is currently under investigation for not properly paying out claims after the LA fires. At the same time, that insurer just got a significant rate increase. Now, you've said that insurers under investigation should not be allowed to get rate increases. But again, I want to go back to the point that I made with Mr. Becerra. What authority do you think that the governor has for you to make that promise, since rates are regulated by and mandated, frankly, under the insurance commissioner?
Well, the governor can certainly work with the insurance commissioner to say there should be no rate increase unless the insurance industry is actually writing policies. They have failed California in our greatest need. They've taken the money from premiums, and then when people needed to have support to rebuild their homes, they said, whoops, we're not going to help you. Then they got a rate increase. I'm sorry, where I come from, when you do a bad job, you don't get a raise. And so as governor, I would withhold any dollars that would go to support any
Thurman,
business.
you can't do that.
You
don't have that authority as a governor.
I'm withholding tax credits. I'm withholding benefits to businesses that want to do business with the fourth largest economy in the world. I have supported tax credits for those who are employers in our state. But for the insurance industry, if they will not write policies for Californians, they will not get any subsidy from the state of California.
And Ms. Porter, I'd love for you to chime in. Do you think that that would then force insurers or incentivize insurers to leave the state? I mean, where does that leave us? Will we have insurers left in the state if that happens?
Yeah, just to summarize the squabbling for everybody, what he wants to do is unconstitutional. What he's proposing is a good idea, but was already done. We don't want more people on the FAIR plan because it's a huge financial liability for the state of California.
It's single payer. You want it somewhere else.
Excuse me.
It's single payer.
I'm speaking.
I know you are.
She's
talking.
Mr.
And
Bianco,
we're lying
we'll go
to
to
kids.
We'll go to you next.
Oh, I wasn't sure if I was even up here anymore.
Neither were any
Give
of us.
me a minute, and then you will get your time.
May I finish?
Literally, yeah. When's the last time you heard Chad Bianco get called on to speak? And the two Republicans barely speaking there.
The reinsurance is a really important part of this. Thinking about,
dude, I love how he put her in her place, bro. Because she is we just saw the nasty videos about her. You guys pull up Katie Porter viral, and you'll see nasty videos of her being a crazy Karen, nasty lady to people, horrible person, disgusting human. But you just had Chad Bianco put her in her place, and I love that.
How to insure the insurers. There are ways that we could put California state dollars at play to bring down the cost of reinsurance, which would help more people come back into this market and write more affordable policies.
Thank you, Ms. Porter. Now, to your point, Mr. Bianco, Ms. Porter has supported single-payer health care insurance, and you are saying that this is essentially the same thing. Can you elaborate on your concern, and then, frankly, chime in on what you think these plans will do to the insurance market?
Yeah, I was walking in here tonight, and I was asked the most strange question ever by a CBS reporter that said, "Are you afraid of tonight?" And my answer was, I'm not afraid of anything. I'm truly not. But actually, I'm terrified that one of these people are going to be your next governor, and these kids are all going to have to move. This is absolutely ridiculous. We're lying to we're not taking responsibility for failed Democrat policies that have brought us here. The FAIR plan is 100% a single payer, and it is a failure. Absolute failure. So we're not going to medical because it's the same thing. The insurance companies left because the insurance companies can't be forced into bankruptcy by the state. They told the state it wasn't global warming. Stop believing that. It was a failed environmental policy that doesn't allow fire departments to prevent defensible space around our homes or clear out the brush for 30 years that are building in our mountains and in our hills that took out a city. They specifically said we were going to lose a city, and our governor said we don't care, and so the insurance companies left.
Mr. Bianco, do you have any ideas for what you would do so far? All you've said is this group has failed.
The regulations.
What would you do?
Exactly. I will stop the 16 years of Democrat failure of regulations in this state that have destroyed their ability to live here. They are going to have to find a different state to live, not grow up in the California that I had the opportunity to grow up in, because regulation in this state is destroying our ability to live here.
Thank you, Mr. Bianco. And I will say that
He's asking, what are you going to do? He said it, bro. Deregulation. Allow insurance companies to come in and compete for people's business. Don't force them to do things. And you're going to have people that can get insurance and insurance companies that will compete for their business. When you deregulate, when you stop trying to force people how to do business, let businesses do business. The government is not in charge of telling people how to run their lives and how to run their businesses.
Just to clarify for folks, that the governor does have the authority to appoint the heads of state agencies who then make regulations. So they can do that without going through the legislature, for those folks at home who may not understand that. Yes, Mr. Hilton, you wanted to ask Mr. Becerra.
If I may just ask Javier a question. Thank you. He said that he would declare a state of emergency on insurance. Have you read the statute that sets out the governor's emergency powers?
I've actually defended the governor in any number of forms when I was Attorney General for the state of California.
Have you read the emergency powers statute?
I have read the statutes before.
Well, then in that case, you would know that what you're proposing is not in there. You can't.
That's not correct. That's not correct. When you declare a state of emergency, you have extraordinary powers. Now, that doesn't abridge
but they're very specifically described in the statute.
But it does give you the opportunity, if I could answer, it does give you the opportunity to do things with the insurance commissioner, with the industries that let you try to come to a negotiated solution. To just let the insurance companies run over us, to let them just tell my mom they're canceling your policy after 30 years.
I don't think he has read
in this state of California.
I am looking forward to seeing what happens when you do that, because I mean, I've been told that you can't do it, but you are the former AG. And I have to tell you all.
I'm the only candidate who's actually declared a state of emergency in this country and been able to deploy resources and personnel to respond.
We can't have a governor who doesn't understand how the government works.
And we don't need a talking head from Fox News to tell us how.
Literally, the guy says he's going to declare a state of emergency. The actual CBS host, which I didn't expect, said, how do you plan to do that? Because it was tried before and it was found unconstitutional. He says, well, easy, I'm just going to go there and tell them that I'm declaring a state of emergency. It's like, no, bro, that's not how it works. Just because you said it doesn't mean it makes it all of a sudden constitutional.
How the government works.
Y'all are paying millions of dollars for attack ads, so let's keep those on the commercials. By the way, great new commercial today, sir.
Thank you. We've got lots of ideas for all your questions.
And we are live, so please, none of that language tonight, sir. All right, we're going to move on to education. And I have to tell you, one of the coolest things about our interview series is people tell me all the time, I learned so much, even from the candidates they don't agree with, they would never vote for. They learned a lot from your interviews. And so this is what I'm trying to get at here, is to have you guys debate your policies. Very different perspectives. Different people are going to agree with different things. But please be honest about what we can do. California schools. This is a really important one. Schools are the state's single largest budget item. The single largest budget item. Yet districts are facing a financial crisis right now, driven in part because of skyrocketing insurance costs and an influx of decades-old abuse lawsuits. Now, student test scores, as we all know, are still below pre-pandemic levels.
I have to answer this one. This guy says here, I can't see, this is Jay Go Texas, says, I can't see how the state can force any company to do business by force, but maybe I'm a fool. No, Jay, you are not a fool. You're absolutely correct, sir. They can't. Every time they have tried to force companies to do business or how to do business or how to operate their businesses, they have failed miserably and driven those businesses out of the state of California. It is a complete disaster. It makes their prices always go up. It makes their services more limited to what they offer us Californians, and it drives them out. The reason they had this question in this debate is because they said very clearly, it's the truth, insurance companies don't want to do business in California. They do business everywhere else because it makes sense, because they're not getting crushed and getting their arms twisted to how to do business. In California, there's a problem. There are people in California that have homes that cannot insure their homes. Okay, they're literally not insurable because no company will insure their home, because we drove all the companies that would have insured their homes out of California. They don't do business here, okay? And the places where you have insurance companies that still do business here, even in places that are not fire hazards, the premiums are sky high because the other companies are driven out. So there's less competition. So the insurance companies charge higher premiums. Now you guys know why our prices here in California, where I live, are sky high. We regulate companies so hard, we drive the competition out, and then we're left with a diluted amount of a couple of companies that are operating here that decide they don't have competition. They can go ahead and raise their prices on us, and they're gouging us because these people decided they thought it was a good idea for government to tell companies how to operate their businesses.
Schools are cutting teachers and cutting programs at a time that we need those programs to get our students back on track. You all have thrown out these key words: equity, accountability. You want to give teachers grades. Right now, schools can't even hire teachers. They are firing teachers. My sister is a teacher. She's got more than 30 kids in her class because they're firing teachers in her district. But who has a plan to raise academic achievement with quantifiable goals, and who can explain how you will actually accomplish that in your first term in the middle of a financial crisis? I saw your hand go up first. Mr. Mahan, go ahead.
Thank you. Well, Julie, education changed my life. I came back after college as a Teach for America teacher in Eastside San Jose to teach in one of our most underserved communities. I can tell you exactly what we need to do. We need to cut administrative overhead and get more money into the classroom. We need to reward teachers whose students show more learning growth. For those teachers whose students don't, we need to intervene and provide coaching and training and help them get up to speed. And we need to have high expectations, including teaching phonics in the early years. That's a fight we never should have had.
And we are doing that now, right? But let me ask you this. So you said cut.
We haven't done it yet.
Okay. Specifics, though. You said cut overhead. What overhead do you, you've been a teacher. What overhead can we cut?
Yeah, if you look at spending over the years, we have seen the system's expenses go up as student enrollment has declined. More of that money needs to go to recruiting teachers at the beginning of their career.
I guess the question is, tell folks at home, what is that going to that you would cut? Is it going to janitorial staff?
It's going to the nearly 1,000 districts we have, with all of the superintendents, all of the district staff, all of the staff that's not in the classroom. We need to reward teachers whose students grow faster. We need to have high expectations. It is a crime that with half of the spending per pupil, Mississippi is doing a better job of educating low-income students.
And Mr. Hilton, you have talked about looking to other states. I do want to give Mr. Steyer a chance.
Look, my mom was a teacher, and the teachers in this state have endorsed me. And let me say that on a cost-adjusted basis, we're the 31st out of 50 states in terms of spending per pupil. The truth is, the thing that makes kids succeed in classrooms is great teachers. And we need to be able to recruit teachers. And that means we need more money. And I've said on day one, I'll propose closing a corporate real estate tax loophole to bring in money to pay teachers, to pay them, to recruit them, to train them, and to retain them, because a master teacher is an incredible value to the people of California.
I would like to just get to Mr. Thurman very quickly. And Ziggy, if you can give me time in my ear. But Mr. Thurman, you are the one who's been in charge since before the pandemic. The situation that we're in right now has happened, for lack of a better way to put it, under your watch. What can we do to increase student achievement in light of the financial crisis?
I mean, education is the greatest equalizer there is. It saved my life as somebody who lost both parents, and education gave me an opportunity to change my humble beginnings, and we have to provide that for all of our students. What folks aren't saying on this stage is the biggest challenge for our schools is declining enrollment. Schools get their revenue based on attendance, and we're one of only 6 states in the nation that still gives revenue based on average daily attendance. We have to move to an enrollment system as we recognize that schools are losing revenue, and we have to implement my 5-year plan to make sure every student reads by.
Do you know why less people are enrolling? Do you know what I will do when I have kids? Do you know what I'm going to do? I'm in California. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to not put them in public education. I'm going to not allow them to become brainwashed into this crazy far left ideology that is going rampant in this state.
Speaking of students, we have to get to our student question, but you can watch in-depth interviews with all of our candidates on all these topics online. In the meantime, I would love to introduce Chloe Ogans, a Pomona College sophomore, with a question for you.
Hello, my name is Chloe Ogans. I study politics at Pomona, and when researching your platform, something that came up was that you talk about reconstructing or rebuilding California, and so if elected governor, I was wondering what your vision was for that.
Ms. Porter, it seems like you've had the least amount of stage time in this segment, so I am going to defer to you. Would you like to answer that question?
Yeah, we need to make California grow. We need more people in California, and we can't get there if we don't add housing. Yes, we need jobs, but right now one of the biggest reasons we're not growing jobs is we don't have anywhere for workers to live. I've also rolled out policies for free childcare. That is a game changer for California, bringing us something that other states don't offer, and 2 free years tuition free at our UC, our CSUs, and our Cal Polys. Those are all.
I can't stand it when people have that look on their face of like, I'm gonna do that. No, dude, and you're gonna add housing. Well, how are you gonna? What are you gonna do? You're gonna add housing in California. You know that California is one of the hardest states in the country to build anything. Do you know how many permits you have to get to add? I don't know, an umbrella or something to your back, like something stupid, like anything you want to add to your house, anything. You want to go build whole house. How are you going to build houses? With what money? How are you going to build houses? And how are you going to, you know, all the costs of building homes, not only does it take the longest because of permitting, it's the most expensive place in the country to build homes. It's crazy to me. Dude, we still have not rebuilt the homes from those fires. All those people displaced, no homes.
Real affordability solutions. They're taking us back in some ways to things we used to have, like free UCs, and forward in others, like
and
free
we'll
childcare.
talk more in the future about how we're going to fund those things. In the meantime, I want to thank you all. This has been a pleasure. Of course, our 30 minutes flew by. And remember, we cannot cover every issue tonight, but you can. You can head to cbsnews.com.
I'm going to forward. We're going to go right back in the next segment. Here we go. This is live, literally as we're speaking. However, every time I stop it to speak to you guys, we kind of get a little space. So I forwarded enough to get into the next segment.
And welcome back to Pomona College inside the beautiful Bridges Auditorium for the CBS California Governor's Debate. Thanks for joining us. I'm Ryan Yamamoto.
And I'm Sarah Sadwani. In the last hour, we've covered accountability, we've covered affordability. Now we're going to delve into some of the deeper issues on social issues impacting California.
Our first topic is homelessness. Our CBS News poll released today shows voters want the next governor to focus on housing along with mental health and addiction treatment. So for our first lightning round question, yes or no, would you as governor support a plan to mandate those who repeatedly refuse offers for a pathway out of homelessness be forced into a treatment facility? Mr. Villaraigosa, yes or
yes.
No? Mr. Mahan?
Yes.
Ms. Porter?
Only with safeguards and protections.
Yes. Mr. Becerra?
Yes.
Mr. Hilton?
Yes.
Mr. Steyer?
Yes.
Mr. Bianco?
Only mental.
And Mr. Thurman?
Yes.
So to follow up with that, so Ms. Porter, while it's true homelessness impacts a wide range of people, to those down on their luck, fleeing violence, or living paycheck to paycheck, while the state can do better, there are services in place to.
By and large, homeless people are not down on their luck. We had a discussion about this on my live stream yesterday. If you guys were there for that, you will know that the left has changed the vocabulary. people that in the near past, not long ago, were called bums because they don't want to work, because they don't want to get off their asses and work. They are now renamed. The word's called homeless. You should get off your butt and go get a job like everyone else and go work. By and large, people that are considered homeless are bums. They don't want to work. There are a few that are disabled, but you get disabilities in America. If you have ailments or something's permanently wrong with you, we have things in place for that. People that are able-bodied, able-minded, able to go work, decided they want to get on drugs and not work, and we call them homeless, and now we have to do all of what they're talking about.
Help those individuals. So my question is, how do you help those who may be dealing with mental health? And
they called them, as if you recall what he just called them, he called them people that are down on their luck. Deciding not to go to work and continuing to do drugs on the street, to me, it does not equate to being down on your luck. That's a completely different term, and it's definitely not down on your luck.
Or drug addiction who repeatedly refuse service. You have 45 seconds.
So I worked on in Congress and passed a bill in the House called the Mental Health Justice Act. And one of the things it would do is create dedicated mental health responders in lieu of police. When someone has been unsheltered for a very long time and they have a serious mental illness or a serious substance use problem, it is very, very challenging to help them. What we've seen from the Care Court proposal that Governor Newsom rolled out is a big plan and very, very low take-up. So we need to have stronger provisions that let those who are on our streets helping be able to get those people the help that they need. There are people who are too ill and unable to make decisions for themselves, but we have to balance that against this state's long history and ugly history of incarcerating people for reasons that have nothing to do with either of those things, but track along race.
Thank you, Ms. Porter. So, Mr. Bianco, you have said in your interview with CBS that
it's annoying to me, and I'm going to rewind it for just a second. Look at the look on her face. It's when you realize what I'm about to tell you, you'll notice it a lot. I hate it. It gets under my skin when these people talk to you with this concerned look, like, I don't even know how to make that look on my face, but look at how she speaks. It's so annoying. They talk to you with this concerned look, like they're so concerned about everything and they are so compassionate, they're so empathetic, yet they want to destroy your life. They make decisions that destroy your lives. This lady right here, watch.
We have to balance that against this state's long history and ugly history of incarcerating people for reasons that have nothing to do with either of those things, but track along race.
Thank you, Ms. Porter. So, Mr. Bianco, you have said in your interview with CBS that homelessness is a mental health and drug addiction issue. As governor, how would you help those people fleeing domestic violence, who lost their job, or dealing with unexpected illnesses or injury, who now no longer have a place to sleep? You have 45 seconds.
Yeah, here's the lie that all of these are trying to put onto all of these kids for them to believe. I'm the only one up here that has dealt with this for my entire career. 33 years of people living on the street, whether it's domestic violence, drugs, alcohol, or whatever the case may be. And I will tell you this, the amount of people that are on the street are completely opposite of what she wants to tell you. The ones that are there for how you describe students or kids that got kicked out of their house or domestic violence, we come across them all of the time, and we jump for joy because we can actually help them. There are plenty of services for all of them, and we get them into the services when we find them. Absolutely. It's the drug and alcohol that we cannot get them into. Prop 36 has to be funded. We have to have mental health and drug and alcohol facilities to put them into. Now, the alcohol part, the drug part, that's against the law. We can.
Ms. Porter, would you like to respond?
Yeah, I ran a statewide foreclosure and eviction prevention program and sat across from thousands of families who were struggling to hang on to their homes. It's true that some people have.
Yeah, and you and Governor Newsom did nothing. You shouldn't even mention that. These were failed. These are failed projects that you guys operated. You took our money, our taxpayer money in California, and provided nothing in return. And you guys can look this up too, when they were questioned about showing us evidence of what they did with our taxpayer money for homeless, they had nothing to show. And when we asked them where'd the money go, they had no. They're like, we don't know. Look it up and you'll trip out. It's crazy.
Mental health issues and substance use issues, but he doesn't have any concrete plans to do more for those, including around building more housing.
I have the only concrete plan.
Excuse me. I was the first Democrat leading a large city to support Prop 36. So I understand the need to be able to get people indoors when they're refusing help and harming the broader community. But Chad is wrong. We don't have enough beds for people. As mayor of San Jose, the third largest city in the state, we have led the way in reducing the number of people.
The most woke part of our state is that San Jose, San Francisco area where this guy is from. What a nightmare these people are and have been for our state.
Living outside by 1/3 by building basic dignified shelter, interim housing, treatment capacity, and requiring that people come indoors when it's available.
Giving them a solid roof instead of a tent.
We'll come back to you, Mr. Bianco. Thank you. Mr. Mahan, I want to follow up on that comment. As mayor of San Jose, you tout the accomplishments of reducing homelessness in your city, but in a recent clearing of an encampment called the Jungle, unhoused advocates in your city say you are not keeping promises of providing enough shelter to the more than 100 people in that specific camp. How do you answer critics who say you are forcing people to move without a viable place to go?
Well, Sarah, I've had to take on advocates and interests in my city who have defended the status quo. The truth is we're closing the last large encampment in San Jose, formerly known as the Jungle. We did 50 days of outreach, offered every single person out there interim housing. That's a private room with a door that locks. And we have already moved over half of the people there indoors. We have offered folks a safe, dignified alternative to the streets. But when people repeatedly refuse to come indoors, that's a sign that their addiction, their mental health issue is a problem that they can't get a handle on. And the only compassionate thing to do is to intervene and get them into a safe space.
Could I offer another perspective? As a social worker, I've spent 20 years helping young adults leaving foster care get housing. You know, what I'm hearing from you, Mr. Bianco, is just horrendous. To blame the victims. We have 10,000 teenagers who are homeless in this state.
I actually blamed you and your policies,
well,
not
you can, but if you have any ideas, share them. Otherwise, stop wasting the public's dollars to steal ballots and to try and keep people from voting. And so, as I was saying, reclaiming my time, I'm working.
Can you believe the balls on him? Stop wasting the public's dollars. We are a Democrat-run, it's a one-party state. They're all Democrats. It's the Democrats taking all of our taxpayer dollars and wasting all of it. And this guy has the guts to come up here and speak like Mamdani, talk about all the communist stuff he wants to give you, free healthcare, free education, free this, free that. And he wants to tell the guy on the stage who does not want to spend your money, stop taking people's money. Dude, this is insane. Can you talk? Can you say projection? That's called projection. On this channel, we call it confession through projection. You're the one that takes people's money and blows it away, doesn't even know where it goes, yet you are saying the other person is doing it. You're confessing to what you're doing by projecting it onto the other person. Confession through projection.
On a policy to provide subsidized housing and supports to our homeless teens and to pass a $10 billion bond to build affordable housing for those who are unhoused. That's the work that government's supposed to do.
So, Mr. Bianco,
just because you say something sternly doesn't mean you're not a moron. That's a moron right there. He's asking for another $10 billion to do what? Probably something that he won't even know where the money went if you ask him tomorrow.
some people might say you're trying to arrest your way out of this problem.
You realize that we didn't have this problem before 2014 in Prop 47. When the government decided to lie to the people, call it safe schools and safe streets, and make drug use legal, make theft legal, and a whole mess of other crimes legal in California. That's why we're here from 2014. You just quick Google search about homeless, and it goes just like this from 2014 till now. That's why we're here, because of failed policies that every single one of them support. If we are not going to, before Prop 47 in 2014, the answer was not arrest. It was we took them to court. I was a drug cop. Take them to court and say, do you want to go to jail or do you want to go to rehab? And the vast majority of them picked rehab. That's what we want. Prop 47 and these failed policies have made my jails the hotbed for mental health and drug addiction care, and that's not what they're supposed to be for, and it's their policies.
The reason your jails are that way is because you shouldn't have to go to jail to get substance abuse treatment. Don't
break the law.
Criminalize the victims.
Don't break the law.
Thank you, Mr. Bianco. So, Mr. Hilton, as the other Republican on stage, do you agree with your colleague, Mr. Bianco, or do you have a completely different approach to this?
You know, hearing this conversation, it just makes me heartbroken, really. We've got this situation in California that is completely unacceptable. This crisis that has gone on for so long, it shames our state. The fact that you've got people living in these conditions, we would never tolerate someone we love living in these conditions. And so we shouldn't accept it at all for people that we don't know. And so we got to have a clear and strong plan. And here it is. Number one, we have to enforce the law. It is illegal to live and camp on the streets. Number two, we have to get people into drug and alcohol treatment. Last year, Governor Newsom vetoed a bill that the Democrats passed in the state legislature, the Sober Housing Act. That is ridiculous.
Thank you, Mr. Hilton.
And number three, we need to increase mental health provision so we can take care of people where they should be, in mental health facilities, not in jail.
Thank you. Mr. Becerra, you have said we need to focus on accountability when it comes to the billions of dollars that have been spent already to solve the homelessness crisis. But you also gave Governor Newsom an A for effort on this issue. So my question is, are those billions of dollars well spent or not? You have 45 seconds.
Yeah, and Sarah, let me clarify. I gave the governor an A for effort for his work as governor, not on this particular issue. And what I will
No, I saw the debate. You gave him an A for effort on this issue, you liar.
tell you is this, that we will not cycle people through the streets and into jails and just see that constant recycling.
I have to respond to someone here, someone that keeps talking about, here we go. Not this one. Here we go, right here. Eric Klein, 5347 says, only country democracy without universal health care. We're 50 years behind. Let me make sure that's on your screen again. Dude, I don't know if you're aware, but the countries that have universal health care, like the one right above us called Canada, have the worst health care. If you talk to people in Canada, do Google searches that talk to real people in Canada, they hate their healthcare system. It's a complete nightmare, and their taxes are sky high. You want to live in a communist socialist country? There's quite a few of them out there. Go. Feel free to be in Russia, Cuba, any of those countries. Get out of there. Get out of here and go enjoy that type of life if that's what you want. We don't want to be taxed through the roof. We want to have opportunities so we can make money and make something of ourselves and hold on to our money. We run around talking about all these rights that we want for people, but we don't stop and think about the right to keep your own money when you make it. I have a right. We have rights to keep our money. We have rights to stop the government from putting their hands in our pocket and taking our money to provide us with things that don't even work.
We will build up the treatment facilities that we need. On my watch as HHS Secretary, we launched 988, the program that now is used by millions of Americans throughout the country in the event that they have a suicide ideation. If they are suffering through mental health crises, they can now call and try to get the help that they need. But without a doubt, we have to demand accountability. When we put out a taxpayer dollar, we need to have accountability. And I would say the thing that's been missing in this conversation on homelessness is let's prevent people from losing their home. And I will act as governor to make sure that if you have suffered a loss of job, if you have a medical crisis, that we're not going to watch you lose your home.
Thank you,
we
Mr.
will fight to
Becerra.
help you keep it.
Mr. Villaraigosa, in our CBS California interview, you said we need to have, quote, locked institutions to deal with those on the streets who are dealing with mental health or drug issues. And under Ronald Reagan, many of those institutions were shut down, and you criticized your own party for not bringing them back. So as a former member of the State Assembly, including Speaker, do you bear some responsibility for not having those services in place?
I take responsibility. I was there 20 some odd years ago, but let's be clear. We spent $24 billion and homelessness went up. And it's true that we need drug rehab. It's true that we need mental health services, and it's true we need housing. The fact is, many of these people are homeless because they can't afford rent. We have the highest rent in the United States of America. So we need an all-of-the-above approach. And what I said was, for those people who are a threat to themselves and others, who their families trying to commit them, and you can't, it's almost impossible to do that. So we need to make the care courts accountable and the counties accountable with them.
Thank you, Mr. Villaraigosa. We have to hear from Mr. Steyer. You have said California's two solutions for homelessness of shelter and long-term housing does not work, and it's too expensive.
These guys keep going back and forth with these Democrats. Come on, man. Get Steve Hilton and Bianco in there. What the hell?
But yet, you recently gave Governor Gavin Newsom a B- on how he has handled the crisis. If you were giving the governor a passing grade, would you make changes, or would you just follow the same policies? You have 45 seconds.
I absolutely would have new policies. Nobody gets well on the street. And the policy that we have now to get people into permanent housing takes 7 years, and as has been said, has cost $24 billion. The truth is, we need to keep people from getting onto the street by giving them rent assistance when it's close. We need to get people off the street as fast as possible. Only 1 of 7 people who go on the street have some form of mental health problem or drug addiction. Everybody is under amazing mental stress and pressure while they're on the street. That's why I am for emergency interim housing. Get people off the streets, keep them off the streets, and make sure that not only for their sake, because it's more compassionate, but also because we need livable, vibrant, urban neighborhoods where people are safe and like to live.
Thank you. We're going to move on and talk a little bit about wildfires and natural disasters, drought and extreme heat, which most scientists agree is made worse by climate change, have led to a surge in catastrophic wildfires across the
That is not true. Most scientists don't agree that what she just said is based on climate change.
The state in the last 10 years alone. That includes 2 of the most destructive fires right
Not true.
here in Southern California. We also live in earthquake country. Mr. Becerra, you say you're running on experience. What are the first 3 things that you would do if you were governor and a natural disaster were to strike?
Sarah, we have to stop believing that we can get out of this mess unless we invest in prevention now so we can avoid paying for failure later. And I would say this, ratepayers have to understand what their risk is so they understand why they are going to pay for help, what they're going to pay for their home insurance. But an insurance company has to be open and transparent about how it's pricing its policies so people can afford it. If you're going to buy a home in a wildfire risky area, you should know what your insurance rates will cost.
So, Mr. Becerra, what are those first 3 things? If the fire's starting now, what are your immediate reactions?
Well, as I did when I was Secretary of Health and Human Services, where I declared disasters, I will go in and we will deploy our personnel and our resources to help those counties and those cities address the needs of those families immediately. We will make sure that when they file their claims, the insurance companies are responsive immediately, and we will make sure that we have the first responders that are necessary to make sure we deploy them where they're needed immediately.
Thank you, Mr. Becerra. Mr. Bianco, the flames are rising and the winds are blowing. What are the first 3 things you would do as governor?
Well, that's too late by then. That's what we don't want. Why are we talking about after instead of the root causes? The root causes were not because of climate change. The root causes, ask anyone, ask the insurance companies. They told Newsom for 5 years that this was going to happen because of failed environmental activism policies that do not allow the clearing of brush and the fuel for these fires before they take over cities. This is 100% done by failed policies in California. The Palisades fire.
The question, sir, is what are you going to do today? We're sitting in Claremont on the base of the San Gabriel Mountains. If a fire breaks out tonight,
he doesn't have any ideas. He doesn't know what to do.
Sir, I'll answer the
Actually,
question.
I've been protecting you for my entire career from policies that you have made, that every single one of you have made, that I have suffered the consequences while I've been trying to keep them safe, working hand in hand with the fire department for 33 years. And you know who's not being asked? The fire department, because the fire department will tell you, CAL FIRE and every city and state agency will tell you that it is government policies that do not allow them to fix before in the off-season.
I can answer that question.
Thank you, Mr. Bianco. Mr. Mahan, what are your first actions as governor?
As a mayor of a big city, I've gone through emergencies. You declare a disaster. You set up an emergency operations center. You allow, yes, that was the question, Chad.
No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't. No, it wasn't, Matt.
Just to finish the point.
Then let's go to that, because that was not the question. The question was, here comes the fire. What are you going to do?
Please, Mr. Bianco, you had your time, Mr. Mahan.
That wasn't the question.
I'd love to just answer the question, which is you set up that emergency operations center. You let first responders and professionals lead, but you provide the communications backbone. You assure the public. You are out there every day backing up your public staff in the delivery of services. I also need to make another point, though, which is that Javier Becerra keeps touting his experience and then says he's going to study something. He'll figure it out once he's elected. The secretary has never met a crisis that he couldn't ignore, whether it was migrant children, the 85,000 who were lost, monkeypox, where we were slow to respond and then blamed the gay community for the crisis, or COVID, where the Biden administration had to sideline them. So I think we should be really clear about what kind of experience we need. It's experience that has delivered results for people.
Mr. Becerra, you'd like to respond?
Oh, absolutely. You're not wearing a mask, are you, Matt? You are not worrying about catching monkeypox, right? We were able to deal with these crises. And remember, what we did was we addressed them with the 50 states nationally, and we deployed the resources and the personnel that were needed. We got out of these crises. Today, the economy is not worried about COVID because we made sure that 700 million COVID vaccines went into the arms of Americans, and never once did anyone, whether you're insured or not, have to worry about whether or not you'd have to pay for them. And even those who provided deceptive information about the vaccines got the vaccines.
Thank you, Mr. Becerra. Mr. Villaraigosa, you wanted to get in on this one.
Yes, I also was a mayor during some big fires and big disasters. What would I do as governor, though? Let me be clear. We got to expand CAL FIRE. We do have to do a lot more with prescribed burns. We got to fix the insurance crisis, because the people that were affected by this fire, aren't able to replace their homes. We got to do an all of the above strategy that understands that climate change is here and it has exacerbated it, but we can mitigate those changes with the right decisions.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Steyer, since they brought up insurance, you had backed the Affordable Insurance and Climate Recovery Act, which authorized the state attorney general to sue fossil fuel companies for damages linked to climate disasters to help blunt rising insurance costs. But that initiative actually failed last week in the Senate Insurance Committee. So how would you as governor advance that? You have 45 seconds.
Advance what?
The Insurance and Climate Recovery Act that you backed.
Okay, so let's be clear. The oil companies have been polluting and knowingly polluting for 45 years. It has caused great damage to the people of California. In fact, it is a reason we're getting warm, and it is a reason we've had these fires that have dramatically hurt people
so
in
you were
Altadena
causing
and
great
Pacific
damage while you were investing in them?
Excuse me?
So the fossil fuel companies were causing great damage while you were investing in them?
And so it is time that that act which I was pushing is the idea that they should pay back for polluting. In environmentalism, I have 3 real rules. Number 1 is polluter pays. It's absolutely critical that if people are going to pollute and damage the environment and cause harm to their neighbors, they pay. 2, we have to include environmental justice in every single environmental rule. And 3rd is we need to start to deploy all of the clean energy stuff that's cheaper now and get us back to the front of the world in leading it. It's true the fossil fuel companies are still providing gasoline to us at inflated prices. We need to make them pay for the costs that they have had.
These Democrats are talking about doing what UK has done that has destroyed their country. They're talking about trying to go to what is renewables and try to stop this climate change. Climate change is a hoax, guys. I see you guys in the chat. I see you guys going back and forth and calling. Someone said, you MAGA dum-dums don't know that climate change is real. Just go Google it. Well, why don't you just go Google it since you're so good at Googling it and realize that in the beginning of time, they told us the world was cooling. Then they said it was, oh no, it's warming. Then they came back and found out it's cooling again. And then they realized we can't keep talking about it warming and cooling. We got to change the vocabulary. It's called climate change. And now they are taking your money, getting themselves elected. They're twisting companies' arms and ruining the way these companies operate because of so-called climate change. Meanwhile, they're making zero difference to our climate. And there's nothing to be changed. Everything is fine in our climate, guys. It's not even... Take a look at the percentage of the carbon dioxide in our atmosphere and the amount of it that has been changed as a result of human activity, and then look at what countries that it's little to none. Then look at which countries on our planet contribute the most to that minute number. And then you'll notice that whatever we do here in UK and all these countries that are destroying themselves to change the way they affect the climate, it's destroying our people. It's raising our energy prices sky high, and they are making in this case, state of California bankrupt for no reason whatsoever. It's a hoax.
All the houses that burned down.
Thank you, Mr. Starr.
And the insurance costs that people are paying to insure those houses.
Thank you, Mr. Starr. Ms. Porter, you would like to react?
Yeah, in Congress, I had a track record of making polluters pay, raising the royalty rate for a rental rate and royalty rate for those who drilled, raising bonding requirements to make sure polluters.
Public enemy number one, right there on your screen. She's one of the people that's been making companies pay. Well, guess what happens when you make companies pay? They leave California. What I said earlier, less competition, prices go up on us Californians. And it's absolute disaster what these people are doing. Why? Dude, we live in a free market capitalist world or a society. Dude, the way we operate here, you got to let companies do their stuff, do what they're going to do. You can't force them how to do business and tell them what to do. It doesn't work. It ruins everything.
Clean up their mess. But you now want to talk about polluters pay, but really I think what we should be asking you is how about profiteers pay? You paid the lowest tax rate on this stage, and yet you made the billions that you're using to fund your campaign off fossil fuels.
So let me say this. In this campaign, there is one person that the corporations are going after, including big oil, who is spending millions of dollars to stop me. The electric monopolies, PG&E, millions of dollars to stop me, because I'm the person on this stage who's the change agent. I'm the person who's going to drive down costs for the people of California by taking.
Both of you people that are currently on my screen are the ones that are going to destroy California if you get elected.
On the special interests, and they are spending tens of millions to stop me. That's how you know I'm for real. Because
Thank you, Mr.
they
Steyer.
think I'm for real, and they're spending tens of millions of dollars to stop me because they're scared of me.
Thank you, Mr. Steyer. Mr. Hilton, we didn't forget about you. In your 2002 book, Good Business, you argued for corporate responsibility, and with Prime Minister Cameron, whom you advised, he campaigned on a green platform. Yet, you have accused California officials of climate hypocrisy. What specifically would you do as governor to help reverse the trend of these increasing wildfires?
So Chad made some very good points on prevention, and I'd just like to build on that. If you look at one of the really bad years for wildfires in recent memory, 2019, the mega wildfires we saw then produced more carbon emissions than the previous 20 years of climate policy actually saved. So if we want to reduce carbon emissions and protect against wildfires. And by the way, revive our timber industry so we can produce timber for building the homes we need in California. There's a very simple common sense way to do it, which is to have modern forest management so we don't have the fuel load in our forests. We can create jobs and opportunity in rural California and reduce carbon emissions in the process because we won't have the mega wildfires.
Thank you, Mr. Hilton.
Okay, so now let's go to our student question. Joining us now is Dante Gilbert from Pomona College with a question, a lightning round question on immigration. Dante?
Hello, my name is Dante Gilbert. I'm an American Studies student from St. Paul, Minnesota. So California is a sanctuary state, and yet states are limited in the way they can respond to federal ICE and Customs and Immigration. ICE forces. In Hennepin County, Minnesota, local law enforcement has begun to bring charges against ICE agents for assault. As governor, would you support district attorneys bringing such charges against federal agents?
Thank you, Dante. Yes. This is a yes or no question. We're going to go down the line. Mr. Thurmond?
Yes.
Mr. Bianco?
No.
Mr. Steyer?
Yes.
Mr. Hilton?
No.
Mr. Becerra?
Absolutely.
Ms. Porter?
Yes.
Mr. Mahan?
Yes, if they violate the law.
And Mr. Villaraigosa?
2 yeses.
Thank you, folks. And finally, people are looking for hope. Why should they trust that you will deliver that hope? You have 30 seconds, please. We'll begin with Mr. Villaraigosa.
When I became mayor, I said, dream with me. I'd improve our schools, and we had a 60% increase in the graduation rate. I said, dream with me, we'll make the city safer, and crime went down 48%. I said, dream with me, we'll build the subway to the sea, and that subway is getting built. Go with me because I want to be transformational, because I understand that the crisis we face in this state is too great, and that we have to take on powerful interests to fix this crisis. I'd be honored to have your support.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Thurmond.
A better California is possible. Tonight you've heard me be very specific about the policies that I would bring forward. My 18 years of experience as an elected official, 20 running nonprofits, my vision for the state: we can build 2 million housing units. We will tax billionaires. We will provide a tax credit to working people to have more money in your pocket to pay for the rising cost of gas, groceries, and housing. We will have single payer, and we will fight back on Donald Trump's reckless immigration policy and elect someone with the lived experience who understands those who are struggling in our state. I fight for the working people, and that's what we'll do as governor.
Mr. Mahan.
Voters can trust me, and I will give them hope because I know what it looks like to achieve the American dream in California, and I know it's closed off to far too many. As mayor of the third largest city in California, I've led us to build thousands of new homes, reduce crime by over 20%, gun violence by over 70%, and we have 1/3 fewer people living on our streets. And I've done that without raising taxes, with a balanced budget, and when necessary, by challenging the establishment within my own party. That's what leadership looks like.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Porter.
Californians can trust me because I'm the only candidate on this stage that refuses corporate donations. The only one. That's because I'm willing to take on the status quo. I'm willing to go against the grain and fight for a better California. I am not for sale, not at any price. I'm a single mom of 3 teenagers. I worry that that one kid is never going to get off my couch and get into a home. I'm somebody who's concerned about childcare because I've paid the bills and I've gassed up my minivan.
Thanks, Ms. Porter. Mr. Becerra.
I grew up in a home of working parents, and I saw what it was to struggle. I know what we need today. We need to fight for the hardest working and the lowest paid. We have to fight for the next generation so they can believe that they will have the opportunity to afford to buy a house. But here's what else I know. The governor's office is not a place with training wheels. You need people who have experienced those challenges, have dealt with national crises, who have taken on the biggest menace in Washington, D.C., sued him over 120 times, and defeated him. I'm going to fight for the hardest working and lowest paid and those young people who need to buy that house.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Bianco.
Yeah, every single person on this stage is either a career politician, a career strategist, or use the money to support them that brought us to this position today of the hour and a half that you're never going to get back. Everything in California is broken because of their policies, and I've spent 33 years of irrefutable service to the public, with transparency, honesty, integrity, and most important, leadership. And that is what this state is desperately deserving. I'm sorry that you have been lied to for most of your life.
Thank you, Mr. Bianco. Mr. Steyer.
So the problem in California is people can't afford to live here anymore, can't afford to buy a house, and aren't getting the education they deserve. And in order to change that, we're going to have to take on the corporate special interests that are driving up your costs and profiting off you. I am the person who is willing to do that. I am the change agent, and you know it because they're spending money against me in the tens of millions of dollars. And the people who support me are progressives, environmentalists, and unions, including teachers and nurses.
Thank you,
if you
sir.
want change, there's only one person on the stage they're scared of.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Hilton.
So I'd like to go back to Chloe's question, which I'm afraid I didn't have the chance to answer. Chloe, you nailed it. We've got to be a state again where we build things, just as in the golden age of California, where we built the magnificent suburbs of Southern California, the UC campuses, incredible infrastructure. I've got the broad experience to get that done, most of my career in business, but also working in government, the deep policy expertise, detailed plans, and also building a team to get it done so we can make our state golden again.
Thanks so much. Thanks again to all of the candidates for joining us for the CBS California Governor's Debate.
Have a great night, everyone.
Wow. What a disaster, bro. It's refreshing that we have the two Republicans that gave us great answers. I wanted us to watch this so much because you see the stark contrast between the two, but it's just incredible to see the answers of these Democrats that just will not stop wanting to push for these socialist communist ideologies. It absolutely blows my mind. And it's relentless, bro. They want to, again, free this, free that, free that. And what are you going to do? Tax billionaires, tax that, tax this, make the companies pay, make the companies do business here, make the companies go like this, make the companies go like that. No, you're not. You can't make companies do things. You can't tax people to oblivion. You're going to just continue taxing them out. I showed you on the screen just right here. This guy just left. This guy was one of the, where is it? Where is he? This guy just left. If I can pull him up, was a guy from Google. The guy himself had just left. The Google executive. The guy was a Democrat. He was a lefty. Came in here, hired a bunch of lefties, and ended up saying, dude, I'm out of here. This doesn't work. We're gone. That's the problem. So, and this is Mamdani that is dude, this guy is not even a year into his term. And listen to what he says here. The guy he's telling you point blank, we don't have money to do anything. Listen to this guy right here.
New York City faces a budget crisis of a historic magnitude. We inherited a deficit larger than any since the Great Recession. Years of mismanagement and chronic under-budgeting.
Mismanagement under who? Another Democrat, right? Exactly.
Alongside a structural imbalance between what New York City sends to the state and what we receive in return, have taken a toll. We cannot close this deficit with savings alone. We need new revenue. And we need a structural reset in our relationship with the state. That is the only way to meet our legal obligation to pass a balanced budget, and to do so without imposing a financial burden onto the backs of working people. I'm glad to partner with Speaker Menon as we call upon Albany and deliver a balanced budget. Together, we are extending the executive budget deadline from this coming Friday until May 12th, because a crisis of this scale cannot be solved without state action. I want to be clear. We are not simply asking others to act. New York City is doing our part. We are committed to governing with the fiscal responsibility this moment demands. Speaker Menon and I have already identified meaningful savings, and we will continue that work carefully, deliberately, and without cutting the services that New Yorkers rely on. But we cannot do it alone. That is why we are standing together this morning to underscore what is at stake and to call on Albany to deliver additional revenue.
They don't have the money. They're not going to be able to do the things that provide the free things that they told you they're going to provide. They don't have money to even continue operating the status quo, okay? And what they're going to have to do just to continue operating the way they are without giving you the free stuff that he promised he's going to give you in New York is they're going to have to tax everybody, not just what he says, billionaires and the richest people in New York. They're going to have to tax everybody. And what you just saw on your screen with the other Democrats who want to be the next mayor of California, they are trying to, they're saying what he said. And they want to come in here and do what? Make companies pay, make billionaires pay, charge more taxes, offer free stuff. You can't give more free stuff and then tax people more. And because when you tax people more, you lose the tax money. They leave. They've already left. That's why California is in a crisis. Anyway, guys, that's my explanation here. That's what we have going on. I'm in Southern California. I'm hoping so much that we can elect a Republican. Guys, holy cow. It's insane. Guys, I'm actually I have joined a PAC. We're going to be helping voters vote. We're going to help people learn how to get registered and motivate them to get out and go vote when it's time to vote, learn how and when you got to vote for the midterms and all that kind of stuff. We're going to do some of that. Guys, holy cow. If we elect in California, if we elect another Democrat governor, geez Louise, I don't even know what to say, man. I have no idea. That's insane. Absolutely insane. Anyway, guys, thank you for coming along on this live stream. We're now going on 3.5 hours. It was a good one. Good messages in the live chat. Thank you all for being there. Thank you for subscribing. Guys, if you're here, please subscribe. Thank you so much. It really helps. I want to get this message out to all of you guys, to the whole world, guys. We got a lot to talk about. We go over all kinds of politics and social issues, cultural issues. And yeah, this is insane. We just went through and we saw the good, bad, and the ugly in California. Hopefully we got Steve Hilton or Chad Bianco. I'll take either one at this point. I don't even care. But anyway, guys, thank you again for coming along. Please subscribe. Appreciate you all. Thank you. Have a good day. See ya. Bye-bye.